break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit 4everremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you. Would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
The Ayatollah has a better chance of appearing and doing a jumping jack than Mitch McConnell is still alive. Show me the body, Mitch, you rat bastard. We'll discuss Republican scoundrels and focus in on the nine-finger Yakuza who thinks he's going to be the president, Rahm Emanuel, and so many other Democrat scallywags after Mike Scott in the news.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, there could be a thunderstorm and a high of 83 today. Graham Plattner is leaving the race for Maine's U.S. Senate seat.
I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw.
The Democrat announcing his decision following a recent sexual assault allegation. The U.S. launching strikes against Iran for a second straight night.
But we've already won militarily. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly.
The president on Air Force One. A wildfire burning in Utah, now the biggest in the country. The Babylon Fire in San Juan County, over 101,000 acres. A man seriously hurt in a hit-and-run crash on Lakeshore Drive late last night. Area 3 detectives are investigating. And Chicago ranked the worst city in the country for bed bugs for the 6th consecutive year by Orkin. Northsiders have won 3 straight. Cubs and Orioles again tonight, while the White Sox battle the Red Sox. The news, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages ending higher as markets shrug off U.S.-Iran tensions. Tech was the best performing sector, with semiconductors and memory chip makers leading the charge. Shares of Broadcom rose over 3%, extending gains from the previous session after Apple said it plans to invest more than $30 billion in an extended partnership with the chip maker. However, software stocks slipped on AI disruption jitters. Shares of IBM fell on news that Starbucks is reportedly developing AI-powered software that could replace several enterprise applications currently supplied by Microsoft and IBM. The Dow winners, Goldman Sachs, American Express, and United Health Group. The Dow decliners, Caterpillar, IBM, and Johnson & Johnson. The Dow rising 139 points, the Nasdaq higher by 336, S&P 500 up 61. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows and doors, to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio with your host, Roger Piper. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about home improvement. Listen every Saturday at noon for Home Answers right here on AM 560 The Answer. Sponsored in part by JeffBuysYourHouse.com and by CenterGuard Plumbing.
For months, you've been hearing ads about Virago Immune Support. I have to tell you, this stuff is for real. I had an occasion to not be feeling well on a remote broadcast. I took it, and it is the real deal. And the stronger your immune system, the stronger your body defends against diseases, viruses, and everything else. That's why Dr. Huber created Virago, a liquid immune booster supplement. You take it daily. It's a blend of 23 nutraceuticals working in synergy to maximize effects and boost your immune system. It's the nutraceutical cocktail for an immune system, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. Virago even protects your heart, your kidneys, your liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Do yourself and your spouse a favor. Order a bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea. We're meant to live free. We're free to work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But every day, I don't know about you, my body hurts, aches and pains. If they're slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from pain. I started taking Relief Factor years ago to get my life back, to thrive again, and I still take it every day because it works for me. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free. It's research-based formula that is designed to help your body fight inflammation, one of the root causes of pain. It's not a quick fix. It's not a temporary mask. It works from the inside out at the source. Relief Factor, created so people could get back to living life on their own terms, walking, working, exercising, enjoy the moments that matter. This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take a stand for your own freedom. To commemorate, they're offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76. Declare your independence from pain and take control. $17.76. 3-week quick start, ready for you right now. Visit relieffactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. From the AM 560 Traffic Center.
The outbound Kennedy, 50 minutes from the Jane Byrne interchange out to the airport inbound. It's an hour and 5 with the stall before Montrose blocking the left center lane. On the Eisenhower Post Office to 390, also an hour, slowing Damon to Des Plaines Avenue. Stevenson outbound an hour as well to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. Outbound Dan Ryan, that is a 30-minute trip. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, very snug either direction. Tri-State northbound, an accident at Dixie Highway blocking the right lane. That slows from 8094 and also a stall near the Eisenhower. Southbound Tri-State, an accident on the exit ramp to Town Line in the right lane. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, expect less humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 81. Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 67. Saturday is looking mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
What am I talking about? What? Running for re-election in 2026. That's good.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
Mitch, are you there?
All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator.
That's a year and a half ago. From all we know, he died a year and a half ago. Oh, it's preposterous. The whole frickin' thing. This is a representative republic. What is this, my uncle? I never had an uncle named Mitch. In my family, that's what we call the Pichok. Mitch, I don't give a rip if you're alive or where you are. You're supposed to be a senator. Where in the world is Mitch McConnell?
Where in the world is Mitch McConnell? Show me a sign, give me a clue. Drop me a hint and tell me something new.
It's a global mystery. You got to watch and see. Where in the world is
Mitch McConnell?
Remember when they did this with Dianne Feinstein, that inside trading whore? Very good friends with Mitch McConnell. They wheeled her out. She had one eye closed like Popeye. Didn't know if it was Tuesday or July. But what's the big deal? We had a president that had the same problem.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga Kawawa.
Too stupid to be ashamed. Too arrogant to be embarrassed. I don't give a rip about these 535 suck-ons called representatives. It's more about the 370 million legal citizens. And all of these suck-ons, including Mitch, he wanted to focus on the 50 million, 60 million, 70 million. Who the frack knows? How many illegal aliens have been getting our money since Mitch McConnell could do a jumping jack and comb his own hair? The idea that we allow these idiots to be in this position is really nauseating.
No, I haven't.
How's he doing?
I have no idea. I have no idea how he's doing.
At the beginning.
How's he doing? He soiled his pants in front of everybody a year and a half ago. How's he doing? He's doing great.
Okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
And then after that concoction that kept Joe Biden on his feet with a diaper soiled constantly of formaldehyde, Starbucks, and Viagra shot right into his eyeball. This is what, 7 months ago?
Today, the Senate sits for a test on behalf of the entire nation. It's a test of American resolve, our readiness, and our willingness to lead. And the stakes are fairly
riveting. Absolutely riveting. You're lucky the debt's only $40 trillion with these kind of morons. By the way, where's the wife? Where is Shanghai Sally? She's in China. That's love. I've got prom dates that will be more upset when I go than Mitch McConnell's wife, Shanghai Sally. The shipping heiress of a Chinese communist spy, with no coincidence, since she latched onto that Jiminy Cricket-looking freak, Mitch McConnell. Her pappy's company and Mitch McConnell became worth hundreds, if not billions of dollars. When you look at this, it's insulting to call yourself, what is he, a conservative? Is Mitch McConnell a conservative?
For the first time since Senator Mitch McConnell was hospitalized nearly 3 weeks ago, the governor of Kentucky is publicly asking for answers. Governor Andy Beshear sent McConnell a letter Wednesday urging him to update Kentucky residents on his condition, writing, quote, Kentuckians have grown increasingly concerned about the current state of your health and well-being.
Now, here's the skinny. These morons don't work anyway. The dirty little secret, the worst kept secret in America, is they're good for nothing. And that's why it's really not that big of a deal if you have a Nazi for a senator, an old man who has soiled his trousers at least 3 times by noon, or an absolute bald-faced fraud liar.
My Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high...
Did she say papa? I think she said papa. This Dutch boy-looking Chuck Connor impersonating freak. You know, Chuck Connors played Geronimo, if I'm not mistaken, high cheekbones. And you know something? Even when you wiped off that makeup and you put him next to a sheet of paper in Ed Burke's ass, he still wasn't as white as Elizabeth Warren.
Cheekbones, like all of the Indians do, because that's how she saw it. And she's...
Boy, oh boy. All of them? Did you ever see a Hopi Indian squirrel? Did you ever see a Hopi in Arizona? Heads like coolers. My lawyer must be a Hopi Indian. He has a head like a cooler, too.
Said, and your mother got those same great cheekbones, and I didn't. She thought this was the bad deal she had gotten in life.
And every fracking moron in that idiot lying whores district who was lying for 40 years, everything from student loans to jobs, everything under the lie that Chuck Connor-looking white sheet of paper was a fracking Indian. So are you really that shocked that this liar supports that liar, is friends with the other liar? And it only takes 535 of these lawyer slip and fall shyster political whores to steal a nation.
I'm endorsing Graham Plattner for Senate in Maine. And here's the reason why.
All right.
Graham Plattner is the real deal. He's
exactly which American? Is there one that this lying fraud whore, her opinion means anything to? Is there one American out there that says, boy, I really wonder what Elizabeth Warren thinks? What do you think Elizabeth Warren thinks? There's a sentence said by no one ever. And if it was, then the person who's asking that deserves this representation. But we don't. We're not the scumbag Democrats. In fact, we begrudgingly vote Republican from time to time. And the idea that there isn't a mass outrage, Donald Trump knows better than anybody, which is why he answered the question just like this.
No, I have no idea. I have no idea how he's doing. At the beginning.
At a certain point, people are going to understand there is one answer to this problem and one answer only. And that answer isn't the stereo, we're going to go to war. Forget that. The best thing you could do to these idiots is let them live to be as old as Mitch McConnell. They deserve to live their useless existence. Mitch at least was able to steal enough money to become worth a billionaire and marry Shanghai Sally. In the meantime, the good people deserve real representation, a real representative republic. And that's why the best news of the day, bar none, and I don't ever get to say this, Squirrel, it's right here in Illinoisistan, formerly Illinois, with enough good people to know exactly what needs to be done.
growing movement among Illinois counties to separate from Chicago and Cook County to form a new state. The separatists say things like high taxes and a shrinking influence at the state capitol have them ready to secede. Fox 2's Andy Banker shows us Indiana has now come calling.
Well, voters in 33 Illinois counties, including multiple counties in the St. Louis region, have now approved non-binding ballot measures saying they no longer want to be part of the state.
33. They voted to secede. Indiana said okay. And now, today, another 7 counties, bringing the total to 40. And when you ask yourself why not, because it's normal among these thieving, useless, rat, trust fund Democrats to steal in the light of day.
An Illinois state representative and her husband are accused in a kickback scheme tied to campaign money.
What do you think, you're Newsom? What do you think, you're little Dick Durbin and his portly wife? What do you think, you're a Daley? No, you know what you are. You're a thief. You're a fraud. And you confessed to everybody as you ran and won as an Illinois Democrat.
Carol Ammon serves the Urbana area. She is now facing wire fraud and other charges. Prosecutors allege that she used campaign donations for personal reasons. She's also...
Oh, really? Well, let's see what this bust-out makes, and then take a look in her driveway or in her closet to see the shoes and the purses, let alone the travel. Wasn't this dizzy whore out of the country when this story broke? Where was the husband? It's like Ayanna Pressley all over again.
Accused of helping groups get grants that could benefit relatives. Aaron Ammon is accused of trying to mislead investigators.
Oh, is this shocking? I'm curious. Exactly who is this shocking to? As you see the news over and over and over again, no matter where the Democrats are, this is the modus operandi, the schematics of scummy. And that's what they are, all scummy. And all of our lives, we all knew this. And that's why when the short in the pants Daily Mafia, oh, yes, each and every one of you. You know how I could tell, Squirrel? The look on their wives' faces. They think orgasm is a planet. Don't you, Mrs. Burke?
Wednesday morning, I'll be addressing the U.S.-Israel alliance, where it is and where it must go. Prime Minister Netanyahu has led Israel.
You're right. Chief Justice, retired Burke. It was her second job, Squirrel. She deserved it. Chief Justice, the Illinois Supreme Court. After all, she had to see her husband naked.
The U.S.-Israel alliance into a dead end. It's at a tipping point. The status quo is no longer sustainable.
What's wrong with that voice? Is that from every time you open your mouth, one of your scumbag brothers slapping you in the back of the head? Is that because every time as a little kid when you would say, come on, guys, let me steal too, one of those scumbag brothers of yours would slap you in the head?
We need a path for Palestinian self-determination and sovereignty and a path for Israel's security.
This is a Jew. Palestinian self-determination. Hey, stupid. Have you been looking for the last 80 years? Their self-determination is to kill you. Their self-determination is to enslave their own people, murder their own people like Iran and everywhere else. Do you think they're interested in a title company? You think they are looking to open up an index of the Palestinian stock market? You stupid, lying, thieving, short in the pants, nine-finger Yakuza?
Lay out specific ideas on both peace process, economic integration, and making sure that this region, the Mideast, is more stable and more secure.
Well, why don't you go to Gaza and tell them how you went to work for some fraud firm for 2 years, a lobbying firm that was involved in some mergers and acquisitions, corrupt Democrat style. And in 2 years, you somehow made $16 million. And that firm, after Barack Obama, who likes a big-footed broad, he likes an ugly girl. He likes an underbite. He's one of that rare few percentage of guys who says, show me a broad with an underbite. I love it. After he became president, you and that company and all his friends, shirts and skins, all made a fortune, you thieving rat. Why don't you teach the Gazans how to do that? Of course, you'd have to get them out of those costumes first. See how it works. Why don't you tell them you go there with the one time you had a job, how you cut your finger off and you say, listen, boys, you're not going to work your way out of this problem. You're going to have to steal your way out.
And serves America's interests. I'll be providing you the speech so you can read it, the opportunity to link and watch the speech and the questions at the university.
Shut your crooked rat you ass up. Really, every one of them. From Rahm Emanuel to Elizabeth Warren to every other suck-on politician, specifically Democrats, no matter where they are, but not exclusively, right, Mitch? That's why it's time for all the counties to move forward for secession. Who said we only have to have 50 states? Where is that written? How about 150 states? It'll be harder to get these crooked rats elected. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you prepared for the Illinois estate tax? If your estate is worth over $4 million, your heirs could face a tax bill of up to 16% when you pass. Financial advisor Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions can show you ways to potentially reduce or even eliminate that burden. One strategy is to start gifting assets during your lifetime to lower the taxable value of your estate. Another option is setting up irrevocable trusts, which can shield wealth from estate taxes. Charitable donations and life insurance policies can also be smart tools to offset tax liabilities. Call Scott Tucker and the Scott Tucker Solutions team now, 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
If you're near retirement or thinking about retiring, you probably have a lot of questions. How do you make your savings last? How much should you take out and when? You're ready for retirement, but are your finances? I'm Everett Jones financial advisor, Nolan Webster. Let's work together to make sure your finances meet your unique needs over the long haul. You've done what it takes to get there. Now it's time to make the most of retirement. Call me at 224-801-6107 to schedule an appointment. That's 224-801-6107. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
AM 560. The Answer.
Thank you. New tonight, Fairfax County Police have arrested an undocumented immigrant on rape charges.
Put it on the pile! Right, Rom? Scumbags. Democrats, one and all. Am I supposed to play the whole thing about the Nazi dropping out? Who gives a frack? Is he going to miss his Nazi skull tattoo, or does he love the new Beatles sissy tattoo? They are such scum. And how do they exist? Propagandist dimwits and the morons who would believe anybody on TV.
It is an end to what has been an unpredictable, incredibly tumultuous
That's Puppy Liestocking, Jen Psaki. You ever take a look at her scumbag lobbyist husband? Oh, it's a family affair. Just like George Stephanopoulos, just like everybody on a MSNBC and all the Sunday shows. And she's very, very rich. And what does she do for a living? She just lies, like Elizabeth Warren or Rahm Emanuel or Rahm Emanuel's spouse when he says, "How was last night?"
Times fascinating simply because of the political story and ultimately deeply enraging political career for Graham Plattner, enraging for all of us. And we have covered this race from the very beginning.
Now, did she cut her teeth, so to speak, on Bill Clinton? Or was it Barack Obama? Which one? Two scumbags, different proclivities. I remember, Squirrel, on my first blind date, I was in the Buick Riviera. My cousin had set me up with this girl. We're smoking cigars. I made sure I had the Magnum in the wallet, you know what I mean? Just in case things went well. And I said to him, boy, oh boy, I hope she's got an underbite. It's the one thing I found irresistible in the 80s. Woof. Chris, Milwaukee.
Hey, Shaun. As always, great listening to you. You made some trips back and forth for your cigar night.
Yes,
and
I
you
did.
remind me. Yeah. So you're reminding me that we got our place in Florida now. We're back and forth 4 or 5 times a year.
It's the best, isn't it? Now, you got to stop in Alabama. You got to stop at Martin's Barbecue in Alabama, the best. Go ahead.
Martin's. I was trying to remember because we were just down there a couple weeks ago. We're going back in August. Martin's. I got to write that down. So look it up. Yeah. Hey, in Illinois, I fill up in Kenosha at Highway 50. I fill up in Paducah, Kentucky. The reason is it's a 50-cent difference. And it's just the taxes. It's just Illinois.
That's a stupid tax.
Gets me through.
That's a stupid scumbag thieving tax. Illinois has one. New York has one. California's got a big one. The best part is if you just go to Indiana, it's $1.08. At least it was on 4th of July weekend. And the people in Illinois who vote Democrat, those are the useless scumbags that deserve to pay it. All the rest of us are prisoners. So thank you, Chris, and don't ever take 65. Forget about it. It's the Ukrainian auto. The Ukrainian autobahn.
Hey,
beware the truck driver with the hairdo from Auschwitz. Go ahead.
Too many semis on 65. We take 57 down through Paducah. Anyway, in May, Mother's Day weekend, you have to give him something. E.J. Antoni, Mother's Day weekend, I saw him on Steve Bannon's show.
Yeah.
He was not dressed up. He had like a cardigan on or something.
God, he must have lost his luggage at the airport. Probably flew United, the transvestite CEO. Yeah, I know what you mean. Thank you very much. Matt, South Bend.
Shaun, I was going to wonder, how is he going to gerrymander the state? Pritzker gerrymandered it with only half a state left.
Oh, he just ignored it. Don't you remember? I played the clip yesterday. Here's what he says when asked about the first time since the Civil War that a state has had 33 counties vote, and they voted to secede. Here's what that butter-handed fat pig, who never did a push-up in his life, had to say.
I'm sorry that people want to make a spectacle of themselves by claiming that they're going to leave the state. Look, if you want to leave the state, I would like you to stay. I'd like you to get involved and make it a better place by working together with us. But if you want to leave, then get up and move.
See, now this is the part where I miss my grandfather. Because if you think I'm edgy, my grandfather was a man of few words, and he would have just grabbed him by that scruff on his head, beat the taste out of his fat ass, and thrown him through the window. That's what he deserves, because he's not talking people. He said people. It's counties, which means citizens. And what that fat trust fund pig just did was nullify the will of the people in a representative republic. That used to be called treason. Do you know what it's called in Illinois, Matt? Democrat Party. That's what it's called. Over and over again. George in Naperville.
Yes, Shaun, do you think Rahm has the goods to be the next Henry Kissinger?
I think Rahm's as close as you're going to get to a heterosexual in the Democrat Party. What do you think of that? That's as close as it gets right there. Could say a lot of things about this nine-finger Yakuza, but I'm not convinced that every time he takes his clothes off, it's with other men in the room.
And a direction that also knows and recognizes what we're doing today is not working.
See, his wife has a wedding dress, Squirrel. Remember that whole story? And his wife's wedding dress is under a size 17. That's as close as you're going to get to a heterosexual male in the Democrat Party.
The leadership and the ideas and the grit to change directions.
The ideas and the grit.
No longer is it sustainable with the Prime Minister.
Hey, scumbag, why don't they take a look at your big political record? Not just when you were a congressman, a step-and-fetch Democrat mafia member bringing home the bacon to your crooked Democrats. who lived in the district, and they would have voted for Mengele if he promised to bring home the money and pay their overtime. Why don't you talk about the records when you were mayor, after you took over for the other Democrat moron? And by the way, how many Democrat morons are running now? It'll be real different. Do you like your Democrats with eyebrows and vaginas or without? Same frickin' philosophy of stealing and scumming. It's all they know how to do. They're Democrats.
Marxists, socialists, and communists are not welcome on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
I had a relative call me this morning. Don't forget to ask your friend Randy. It's a dish and a clock and other things they want a price on. I said, what are you asking me to do? All you have to do is call 815-923-7000 for any question. Anything about a hand-painted dish that your grandmother had during the Depression to a clock that no one can figure out why it doesn't run, but it's beautiful. He can tell you what it's worth. Anything on a shelf. Anything that was hanging off of a business, any fixture you have in a business now that you may be closing and moving to a better state or one of the counties that pretend to make their own state and hopefully will. Randy Donnelly can tell you what the value is. 50 years, 5 decades of experience of anything in a basement, in a garage, in an attic, parked in a driveway, hanging from a rack in a garage, from bicycles to motorcycles to cars to boats, handguns, shotguns, cannons, and much more, as they are a licensed federal and state arms dealer. Randy Donnelly and Donnelly Auctions, where you can check it all out at DonnellyAuctions.com in Union, Illinois. It's a museum where you can buy things, but moreover, where you can bring things and they can tell you exactly what it's worth. And maybe they'll even be low as they expose those items to the World Wide Web. That's what they do at DonnellyAuctions.com. And when they open the doors, they have one of their themed auctions. The day before, they'll open the door. Take the kids, because it used to be Old West Town, where they had a Western park and a Western museum. And they have real cowboy stuff and real Indian stuff. Not the fake Indians like Elizabeth Warren. But they can show you things from the Old West to things you want right now, to cars, to anything you may have a question of what it's worth. 815-923-7000 or online at DonnellyAuctions.com. When we get back, Phil in Grays Lake, you'll be first. 312-642-5600 if you care to join Phil. After Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Very humid afternoon, maybe a thunderstorm, and a high near 83. Taco Bell is pulling fresh ingredients from some locations due to a multi-state outbreak of an intestinal infection. Nearly 2,000 nationwide have reportedly been sickened by cyclosporiasis. A federal judge has ordered the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, Andrew Boutros, to court today. The most recent proceedings are a continuation of the intense legal scrutiny surrounding Boutros' tenure as U.S. Attorney. 2 men are shot and critically wounded in the West Pullman neighborhood. Chicago police say it happened late last night in the 11,000 block of South Ada. Cubs and Orioles again tonight. The Northsiders have won 3 straight, while the White Sox battle the Red Sox this afternoon. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Your next news update is at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check of the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchek.
On the outbound Edens, it's 16 minutes to get to Lake Cook Road, jammed inbound, though, at 45 minutes. The Kennedy is 55 minutes in. There's a stall in the left center lane before Montrose, so that's making things a bit heavy. And the outbound trip at 45, tighten the express lanes, Armitage to Keeler. On the outbound Eisenhower, 1 hour and 5. Post Office to 390-50. Heading out to Wolf Road. Stevenson out 48 to the Tri-State, 1 hour to 355. And the outbound Ryan, 35 minutes. Stop and go on the Express, 33rd to Marquette. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, that one remains jammed northbound as well as southbound. Tri-State North. Crash at Dixie Highway in the right lane. 1 at Southwest Highway, but that is off to the right shoulder. You will see tie-ups either way on that. The Jane Addams is clear. Southbound 355 snug, but the other tollways are okay. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, expect less humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 81. Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 67. Saturday is looking mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you're drowning in debt, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender, about a fresh start debt consolidation refinance. Today, meet Jordan, 47, project manager, married to Jackie, 43, executive assistant, combined income 260 G's a year, living in a $600,000 home with their 3 kids, called to pay off $120,000 worth of credit card debt, high interest rate consumer loans, and 2 401k loans. Team Hochberg loan officer Cindy Piazza helped Jordan and Jackie pay off their debt, eliminated their stress with the Team Hochberg Fresh Start Debt Consolidation Refinance, which saved them over $12,000 a year. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit that website you know and love, 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you. Would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios,
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Estate jewelry, vintage watches, sell worldwide for true auction value. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yes, I'm well aware of the businesses that have moved out of Illinois. Pritzker says get up and move.
Yeah, there's no chance that you're going to pick up a county and have it join another state.
Then have it become its own state, you filthy, butter-handed, corrupt scumbag. And take all the rest of you Chicago Democrats.
An Illinois state representative and her husband are accused in a kickback scheme tied to campaign money. Carol Ammon serves the Urbana area. She is now facing wire fraud and other charges.
No kidding. Wasn't that bald Ayanna Pressley? She's bald! Ayanna Pressley. She's the same scam with her ex-con husband, right?
We're also learning days before Pressley was sworn into Congress, her husband quit his $92,000 annual Boston City Hall job to start his own consulting firm called Conan Harris and Associates. And as we read more of the Congresswoman's financial disclosure reports, we learn that her husband also saw his income jump while he was in Washington. His client list consists of some government organizations, including one with deep ties to the Obama Foundation. But as he started his firm and seek new clients, he faced ethics concerns because of Presley's job in Congress. Quote, as Harris's days dwindled in the city's Office of Public Safety, he used his city-issued email account to pitch Walsh's chief of staff on staying on as a consultant. City officials say that's
how they make, they do nothing. Nothing. They are marketing corruption. And the husband, ex-con piece of dung. Just like Gavin Newsom's wife.
Josh, great to see you. So what made you look into Newsom's wife in the first place, and what did you find?
Well, there are just always a lot of questions that seem to be swirling around the Newsoms and their finances, have been for years. And so I thought, this is a man who clearly is going to be running for president. This is worth looking at, what their finances are, what the shape of them are. And so when I had a look at Jennifer Newsom's charity, I found that she was paying herself since 2012 $3.7 million. This is a lot of money when you look at the amount that the charity brings in. It's sort of 1 to 1.7 million a year. And she's paying up to a third of that to herself and her own company, $300,000 a year. Now, that is, I did a bit of data analysis looking at what charities that size usually pay their executives. And she was in the top 5% of all.
That's only one. She has 4 of them. They are just scum. Phil in Grays Lake.
Hey, Shaun, thanks for taking my call. Scum is right. Real quick, you kind of just answered one of my questions. I've often wondered, I listen to you every day.
Thank you, babe. I need that.
No problem. I spread the word, man. And in fact, I recently spread the word to a gal that's running for Illinois 61, going up against Joyce Mason, typical Chicago Democrat-backed Democrat, period. Anyway, Tina Durant is her name. I'm going to put you in touch with her at some point, maybe tomorrow.
All right.
But my question to you is, I told her the circulation you have, and then she listened to you yesterday for the first time. I said, Tina, you got to listen to this guy, man.
Well, now she's hooked. There's no question about it. Unless she has an underbite, man. Then she's throwing things at the radio. But go ahead.
No, she's attractive. She's smart. She's articulate. And one of the big planks of her platform is she wants to really get into the property tax to school systems link, and what they're finding, I'm sure you're aware. They're taking Fat Boy and the rest of the crooked politicians are taking the money that they're supposed to be paying down the pension with, and they're putting all their little.
Phil, it's
funds.
A welfare state, and they're throwing names, non-citizens, made up names to get revenue from the federal government. It's a fraud. And the problem that this young girl has to worry about, if there's a Democrat from Chicago that has been sent out to one of these counties, then the county is corrupt. It's really that simple. And it doesn't matter what the people want to vote for. Once that door is closed, these thieves will do what they've been bragging about since they stole the election for JFK in 1960. That's the problem, Phil. But we'll give her hey, listen, we'll give her a platform. I'll look into her. You give her the number here, and you tell her to talk to my honey bunny. Thank you, Phil.
You got it, buddy. Thank you so much. Bye.
Come on, the scam. And the school into property taxes. The ridiculous communist fraud excuse that is. I don't want to pay for anybody's school. What do you think of that? I don't want to pay for their fracking school, which is why I live in Florida, Squirrel. Oh, first of all, it's infinitesimal. You know why? We're not infected with the cancer of the commie unions. No. It's a much better deal. And the good news is the people have representation, unlike anywhere that's run by Democrats.
Just beginning now to really look into the fraud that you're referencing, the K through 12 schools. We've been focusing quite a bit of our fraud detection, if you will, in higher education, at the moment. And we have, through our student loan program, the FAFSA program, we have actually identified and prevented now over $2 billion in fraud. So I'm very pleased.
All set up by the Biden dimwit in diaper administration. When it comes to the American sanctuary areas, these political whores that are supposed to represent Americans allow illegal aliens and their kids to register. And in Chicago, for example, 33,000 a head, 33,000, where 18 out of 100 can read and 13 can do math. Doesn't matter if you speak the language. You almost have a better chance. Jim in Lake County.
Hey, namaste, Shaun.
Namaste.
Hey, you're talking about the representation of the citizens, the peoples, the judges out there that, such as like.
You're going to talk about Chris Farley, aren't you? You're going to talk about Chris Farley? Fat judge in a little robe. Yeah.
The man with the.
Did you see her face, that fat slop? She looks like Chris Farley with long hair. In fact, she's uglier than Chris Farley was.
Yeah, but those are two different subjects, because Farley was funny and innocent. This one's guilty as all heck, with a $5,000 fine, which is a slap of nothing, obstructing federal agents in their task to grab, an illegal alien. And this is what I think should be done. Her pension should be pulled all the way down to the day she began, because how many times has she
tried to get away with this in the
past?
You mean like Denny Hassert?
Well, she tried to get away. Well,
they all get their pension. Ed Burke gets his pension, Mike Madigan, they all get their fracking pension. You're trying to apply rules that are for me and you to the kings and queens.
A new day.
Here's what you got to do, Jim. Here's what you got to do. That was the closest we've ever gotten to an illegal alien turning himself in. 5 more minutes under that fat pig's robe, he would have turned himself in here. What are you, a monger? Thank you very much, Jim. That poor little illegal alien. The only way we should get him out, Squirrel, is hide him under the robe. He came out of there sweating. Sweating bullets, couldn't eat for months. David in Lansing.
Hey, Shaun, I'm glad you're continuing to cover the corruption, especially in Illinois.
And
you should call your show the government. Right, you should call your show the Government Accountability Show. You need an acronym or something catchy.
Oh, listen, the last guy I'm going to go to for marketing advice is the guy with a flip phone. But shoot, what do you got?
Okay, I got marketing for Mondami. We want his stores to go into business so we can watch them become a flaming hydrogen-filled dirigible and go down in flames. So,
David, here's the thing. Government can never go into business. They wouldn't last 3 months. They're not in the business game. They're in the financing fraud game. That's why the grocery stores will never, ever work and cost 90 times what the private store was. Because here's the dirty little secret. There is no government. There's just people. It's an entity that doesn't exist, that you pretend does. It's not occupied by gods or angels. In fact, it's occupied by the least among us, with the lowest form of character, the kind that will say they're Indians when they're white as Ed Burke's ass, the kind that will say they're Americans when they're clearly Nazis, the kind that will say they're heterosexual when they're clearly not. You didn't think I could fit an Obama joke in there, did you, Squirrel? You were wrong. 312-642-5600.
He's Shaun Thompson.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
And this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Whether you are old or young, no one likes to lose money. The market is at an all-time high. How much risk does your portfolio really have in it? Are you worried that you could lose your hard-earned money? Call TJ Stearns in Arlington Heights at 800-640-2256 for your free risk report. Call right now and we will include a full analysis of your portfolio. Don't wait until it's too late. Call TJ Stearns, a local and longtime sponsor on AM 560. Call 800-640-2256. Call now and tell him AM 560 sent you.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait
people wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right. Doing it right since 1959.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. Teaching constitutional law is a joy. Every semester since 1996, my students hear that con law ought to be their most interesting class during their 3 years of law school. This year, the court issued 67 majority opinions. Because district court judge issued bolts out of the blue on a regular basis, there's a perception abroad that the judiciary is becoming politicized. Our highest court, however, is an enormous force for stability in the country that just turned 250 years old. The most significant of this term's cases may well turn out to be NRSC versus the FEC, which held that the provisions of the Federal Election Campaign Act restricting the amount of money a party can spend in direct coordination with the candidate's campaign, those restrictions were unconstitutional. And that breathes much-needed life into the two major political parties, which indeed need that lift. The Supreme Court has gone about its work successfully and will be back at it in October. The Republic of Laws and not of men carries on.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Patrick, CEO of Total Wall and a client of Signature Bank. We produce high-performance materials used in exterior insulating finish systems and other stucco applications. Every growing business needs a strong team behind it. Over the years, Signature Bank has been more than a financial partner. They've shared their knowledge, offered guidance, and connected us with trusted professionals who help strengthen our business. They're a valuable extension of our team and a true partner. That's why I value my relationship with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560. The Answer.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
And you know who we could ask what it tastes like, Squirrel? You could ask Barack. That fracking guy will put anything in his mouth.
With Lolo, I had learned how to eat small green chili peppers raw with dinner, plenty of rice. And away from the dinner table, I was introduced to dog meat, tough, snake meat, tougher, and roasted grasshopper, crunchy.
Yuck. Does explain the wife, though. Put anything in his mouth. Corey Woodlawn.
Thanks for taking the call. It's like they're reading from the same playbook. They get into office, they set up these phony LLCs and non-for-profits, and then they just keep scooping the money toward their family and friends. I love the Constitution, Shaun, but I'm down for one amendment. We need to stop these individuals from stealing our money. We need to amend the government's ability to tax us. That's the one amendment that I'm for. We've got to get that in place.
Of course. How we even allowed it to get put in? You know, most people don't realize this. They think it's normal. And it got me thinking about the whole circumstance. We talk about our issue here in Illinois, but yet if you drive through Illinois, you've got a large percent of the state that are very decent people. It's like anything else.
Oh, yeah.
It's this small collective of scum that give you this illusion. You know, here's the problem. We started calling them leaders when they're not. They're representatives. Who the freck are you?
No,
I'm the
leaders.
fracking leader, scumbag. Nobody's my leader. I don't know what the hell happened to people.
Shaun.
Thank you. I have no idea what the hell happened to you morons. This is Barack Obama eating dog. Lived in Indonesia, this scumbag.
With Lolo, I had learned how to eat small green chili peppers raw with dinner, plenty of rice. And away from the dinner table, I was introduced to dog meat, tough, snake meat, tougher, and roasted grasshopper, crunchy.
You go to odni.gov, people who say, well, Tulsi, this is just your view or your interpretation. No, it's all in hundreds of pages of documents that I've declassified and released that show point by point exactly what happened through this timeline that showed this very dangerous thing that occurred in the creation of Russiagate, the creation of this manufactured intelligence assessment that essentially had the intent of undermining the voices and votes of the American people who elected Donald Trump.
Well, he's a traitor. He was a traitor from day one. What the frack do you know about this idiot? Lived in Indonesia with his whore mother. I'm talking about you. Scumbag. Yuck. Fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Eduardo, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, thank you, Shaun. So what does the media and the Democrat Party think about this Jasper County, Indiana man who had an illegal, who was an illegal, didn't have a driver's license and injured a girl?
They figured he was a Chicagoan taking a ride.
Right.
What do you mean, what do they think about it? This is what's normal now. I got 6 clips on the board of illegal aliens from raping our women to killing our cops driving on the road.
An illegal immigrant truck driver charged in the death of a Pennsylvania state trooper. The Department of Homeland Security says the suspect entered the country illegally in 2024. And
well, that was the time to get here. Come on in. There's a president who had just soiled himself. Mark in Oak Lawn.
Shaun, thanks for taking my call. You know, that clip you just played about Obama eating all this, he's always trying to portray himself as this victim, you know, that he's eating. He's such a courageous guy to even eat.
No. That's what his father, who raised him, Lolo Soetoro, the Indonesian crime figure, who staged a coup as a colonel and killed all the upper echelon of the elected people. He was the second richest man in Indonesia. That's what you ate. He was a radical Islamo-Nazi. And you could have the dog or you could have the crickets. Which one do you want? Go ahead.
Hey, Shaun, you know, I can't believe in that Obama Center. They've got Angela Davis as like this hero, you know, and she wanted to destroy our country, you know, and they've got all these people up there that are
communists,
heroes, communists. Yeah, well, and how does that? Hey, Shaun, could you explain what Angela Davis, what she did? You know, as a
she has a big record with going to Cuba, right? Angela Davis spent some time in Cuba as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And, you know, if you look back at when he ran in 2008, who was at every campaign headquarters? What portrait did he have when you walked in his campaign? Che the murderer Guevara. He told you what he was. Listen, give him the credit he's due. He said what he was. He said he was going to fundamentally change the country. You knew that. But he admitted when he ran for office, I'm a Chicago thief Democrat. And by the way, Che Guevara will be in every campaign headquarters. Vote for me, I dare you. And here we are, just 18 years later, $30 trillion in debt, backdoor nationalized an entire sector called American healthcare, which, by the way, now sucks. He did exactly what he did. Do you blame him or do you blame the moron that voted for him? I'll take B. 312. Oh, we got a guest? We got a great guest coming up. Sorry I didn't get to you, $40, John.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
When Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, America stood on the edge of collapse. Over the next 4 years, the Civil War claimed more than 700,000 lives and tested whether our republic could endure. As the war drew to a close, Lincoln looked beyond victory. He looked toward healing. In his second inaugural address, he challenged the nation. Let us strive on to bind up the nation's wounds, to achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace. Lincoln understood that preserving the greatest experiment in self-government required more than winning a war. It required the character to restore what had been broken. More than 160 years later, America still faces division. The question is not whether we'll disagree. The question is whether we still have the wisdom and the character to heal together.
Shaun Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560, The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
Terracon Consultants Incorporated seeks project engineer in Lombard, Illinois to follow safety rules, guidelines, and standards for all projects. $124,093 to $125,093 per year. Medical, vision, and dental benefits. Apply at jobpostingtoday.com/reference number 57880. Again, Terracon Consultants Incorporated seeks project engineer in Lombard, Illinois. Apply at jobpostingtoday.com/reference number 57880.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Every day, the average American makes 30,000 decisions. Did you know that's correct? 30,000 decisions. Most people try to get to the next morning. Some people among us. Some people, they take that opportunity and they live and they thrive. And they become people who are Renaissance people. They can do anything. They know virtually everything. My next guest is exactly one of those people. I am very impressed. Dr. Andrew Fox. He's more than just an organizational culture expert, although he is. He's a professor. He was a religious person, a priest, a reverend, author, husband. It's amazing. And his new book, which is coming out, Truth in the Age of Applause, How Stupidity is Ruining America, it comes out today. We'll talk to Dr. Andrew Fox after Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Cloudy and humid for the afternoon. There could be a thunderstorm and a high of 83. As a precaution, Taco Bell is pulling fresh ingredients from many locations due to a multi-state outbreak of an intestinal infection. Graham Plattner is leaving the race for Maine's U.S. Senate seat.
I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw.
The Democrat announcing his decision following a recent sexual assault allegation. Chicago Alderman Marty Quinn, who has represented the 13th Ward on Chicago's southwest side since 2011, will not seek re-election to the city council next year. Calls for the resignation of a Central Illinois Democrat are growing louder today. State Representative Carol Ammons and her husband, Champaign County Clerk Aaron Ammons, were indicted on charges of wire fraud and conspiracy to obstruct justice.
Not only do I call on Speaker Welch to ask Carol Ammons to resign, I ask him to really put forward a true ethics reform package.
GOP House Minority Leader Tony McCombie. Cubs and Orioles tonight, White Sox battling the Red Sox today. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major average is ending higher as investors set aside jitters over a flare-up in tensions between the U.S. and Iran. Falling oil prices eased inflation worries. Technology and financial stocks rallied. The AI trade rebounded, leading the Nasdaq higher. Chip and memory stocks soared again, and South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix is slated to make its debut on the Nasdaq tomorrow. The move will test chip demand. Shares of SpaceX rose 3%, snapping its three-session losing streak. SpaceX shares are still trading above their initial public offering price. The Dow up 139 points, the Nasdaq higher by 336, S&P 500 up 61. And shares of Costco fell 4% for its largest decline since April of 2025 after the warehouse retailer reported June sales figures that grew slightly less than the previous month. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea. We're meant to live free. We're free to work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But every day, I don't know about you, my body hurts, aches and pains. If they're slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from pain. I started taking Relief Factor years ago to get my life back, to thrive again, and I still take it every day because it works for me. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free. It's research-based formula that is designed to help your body fight inflammation, one of the root causes of pain. It's not a quick fix. It's not a temporary mask. It works from the inside out at the source. Relief Factor, created so people could get back to living life on their own terms, walking, working, exercising, enjoy the moments that matter. This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take a stand for your own freedom. To commemorate, they're offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76. Declare your independence from pain and take control. $17.76. 3-week quick start, ready for you right now. Visit ReliefFactor.com, 800-4RELIEF.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way. Ow! And affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, a friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Edens, going out, no troubles. Heavy inbound at 40 minutes. Inbound Kennedy is an hour. Medical emergency on the exit ramp to Lawrence Avenue. It's partially blocked in a stall. Left center lane at Montrose. The Kennedy outbound 45 to O'Hare. Eisenhower Post Office out to 390. That is 1 hour. Stevenson to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355, hour and 5, and the outbound Ryan 25 minutes. Outbound Ford, watch out for an accident at 115th blocking the right lane. Heavy conditions along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way, and the Tri-State is busy in both directions. Southbound side of Stall to westbound I-80. Crash reported westbound Jane Addams before Roselle, heavy southbound 355. This report is a service of Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problem. No charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today, foxvalleycoins.com. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, expect less humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 81. Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 67. Saturday is looking mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all else. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white,
Renaissance man is what comes to mind. His resume is beyond impressive. It just reminds me of the 30,000 decisions most people make on average every day. How many are about bettering yourself and bettering your own society. My next guest, about 80% of those decisions for the bulk of his life were to do just those two things. He's truly an amazing man. An author is something that we all benefit from. He has a new book coming out, Truth in the Age of Applause, How Stupidity is Ruining America. He's been a professor, priest, motivational speaker. He's taught here at Wheaton College, right in the area. It is my honor and privilege to introduce you to Dr. Andrew Fox. How are you?
Great. Pleasure to be with you, my friend.
Yes, it's such an amazing, and I love the fact that you've done this and you take time to write it, because this way other people can share from what you've done and what you've been able to witness, because it truly is a fantastic time to be alive. I don't know how old
it is.
I don't know how old you are, but it's, to me, this is my favorite time. If you could look back through history, now is the greatest time of both the opportunity and advancement in that opportunity and the rejection of it, showing you most people find solace and safety in servitude. And the flaw of the human being is just that. That's how I look at it. I wonder how you look at it.
Yeah, just the same. And as my book title will say, I think other people look at it differently. And I call it stupidity. I don't mean that as an insult, but academically, Dietrich Bonhoeffer in the Second World War, he was the only Christian theologian to go up against Adolf Hitler. And he called the German people stupid, but not in an insulting way. He was saying you're abdicating your intelligent, moral, independent thought of reality just to go along with the flow. You're denying reality. Of course, we all know what happened to Germany. And I see that happening in the country, that smart, intelligent, reasonable people are abdicating their God-given, reasonable, moral judgment just to go along with the woke cultural trends, and it's ruining America.
Well, of course, but the evil among us, the scoundrel and the scallywag and the profiteer of weak character calling themselves the politician, they understand if they could only implement fear, obligation, and guilt. You could get good people to do bad things, smart people to do stupid things. You could get people to go along with you. As a society, you perpetrate crimes most people couldn't even fathom on their own. So it's really something to watch, as I believe we are in the midst of the Fourth Reich. We beat the Third Reich. This is clearly the Fourth Reich. And now I enjoy the fact of who's to blame, because American upper echelon is just as guilty at blaming it. After all, we brought the Nazis here. We thought we could commingle this. And, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. And I'm gonna tell you what I think, and you tell me how wrong I am, all right? There has been a lie told to people in this country and in your country as well. Or you're originally from England, but you're not there anymore, right?
Right.
See, you were almost perfect. But anyway, and that flaw is good people are told that they can agree to be somewhat wrong. It's called a compromise, which is a made-up word you can only do with someone you love. But they've been told they can compromise a principle, and somehow that's good for everybody. The idea that you can compromise the right answer with the wrong answer is the crux of the problem in the world. How do you see it?
You know what you've just described? It makes Bernie Sanders look like the ideal male model for fashion. It makes Jasmine Crockett look like the professor of the English language. It makes Alexandra Cortez look like an all-time champion of a mastermind, and Omar looked like the most patriotic woman of the year. It's nonsense, absolutely ludicrous, not to mention Newsom in California, who will sell his soul just to get a vote. This is not debate. This is not civil dialogue. This is not critical thinking. It's playground tactics that is totally un-American. In the 26 years I've lived here, I've seen that kind of style from 1999 go further and further down into the sandbox where children are playing. And so, people can take pot shots at each other and there are no consequences to it. Simply, that's not American. I think the World Cup fans that have just been in the United States and still remain for a couple of weeks are telling us what America really is. It's a great place to be, fun place to be. You've only got to listen to these unsolicited foreign nationals that are saying how wonderful how great it is, the giant supermarkets, the Bass Pro Shops, the pickup trucks, the AC, the massive convenience stores. It's just a refreshing wave compared to the diarrhea that comes out of Capitol Hill. It's a true depiction of who we really are. And I'm the immigrant that became the citizen in the United States. And I've been through the process. And I don't know how far I can go with you, Shaun, but there are certain immigrants that are present in this country that should not be here, that are not catching what the United States is. Look, when I became a citizen, you get a standard letter from the sitting president, and it tells you as a naturalized citizen what your obligations and responsibilities are. Now, I understood that. I fly the American flag outside my house. It's right there right now in Austin, Texas, where I live. I understand those obligations. I don't fly a British flag. I don't take down the American flag on July the 4th and put up a pride flag. I don't go against the things that I swore allegiance to. And this whole process of the foreigner like me must understand, if you're going to live here, there are laws, there are ways of doing things. But we're seeing them getting into places of power and representation, and it's ruining the United States.
Well, there's something else, too, that's very interesting. I like the fact that you use stupidity in the title, and I'll tell you why. For years, I think people have been too polite in the face of the destruction of the principles of what made this country the youngest, the richest, with the highest quality of life. And I don't want to be polite when you threaten that. Instead of threatening what America is built on and the principles, they should admire and implement them if they want to have a successful country or, moreover, successful lives and citizens. And the reason immigrants come here and achieve, and the separation is only the ones that have the good character. And only the people that have the good character will ever follow law, rule, or demand it. People who have no good character, they will always take a more nefarious pathway because they need the anonymity to perpetrate the crimes. And the other thing that I love about right now in America, the scoundrel politician who will use that anonymity and that excuse to profit and fake their own class size and fake their own entitlement schemes. They reveal themselves in the idea a politician of a country would demand it not force its laws. To me, it's been very clear because now you have people who say, I like America, and then you have the cancer in America declaring themselves the American Democrat. I think it's very obvious, and what I need you to tell me to do is how to make kids understand this because people already made their decision. By the time you're 40, if you're an idiot and a scumbag, I'm not going to change you. But kids, they need this information to make that choice.
Well, I think you've just hit the nail on the head, is how do we turn this around? Well, go back to July the 4th a few days ago, or July the 4th weekend, where we saw Mamdani, sitting at Washington's desk, telling America how it's going to be, wearing his little pinky ring. It was the best example is Beethoven refused to sit at the piano of Mozart because he admired Mozart. He revered him. He wouldn't even take the stool of his piano. And then you've got somebody like me that became an immigrant, that became a citizen. In 2018, he became a citizen, has the audacity to tell America how it's going to be. He's the mayor of New York. He's not the mayor of the United States. That kind of belligerent behavior, when it appears on our screens and social media, we need to gather our sons and daughters around and not be afraid of being very direct to say, this is not who we are. This is not our values, and this is what we don't need in the United States. That's not hate speech. That's not George Orwell's Big Brother with Newspeak trying to minimize language and turn it into some weaponized vehicle. We need to tell our children straight. In my world, even as a priest, I think clergy should be more direct in their ministries to their congregations and communities, not politicized, but their ministry to people. They need to be crystal clear instead of being lukewarm, instead of being neither this nor that. Even as the scriptures tell us, you've got to be clear-minded. Now, my family, my daughter-in-law is Mexican, my son-in-law is black. all my grandchildren are a shade of brown. We have the most glorious conversations and fun and joking around our dinner table. Where else could you do that apart from the United States and have a lot of fun doing it?
Well,
but you cannot do it outside in the community anymore.
The only separation of men is character. It has nothing to do with color. You know this. I don't think a person. I don't think a person who can read, a person who can think, can actually be a racist. Did you know that? I really feel this way. Now, that being said, I'm definitely biased against morons, thieves, scoundrels, and scallywags. No question. And I don't like the white ones equally as much as I don't like any other color one. But the other problem is there's a cowardice of character where people are afraid to have this conversation you and I are having. And I am having this conversation with somebody who, you're a priest, correct?
Correct, yeah, priest in the Anglican Church.
So it's a very interesting idea that you don't need that as a virtue shield to introduce yourself, to promote your scholarship, to talk about your ideas. And I love this idea because so much of what we've been brought to on the brink of giving up our sovereignty as a people and destroying and abandoning our principles has been brought to us by, I was born a Catholic, by Catholicism in the most case, but in a lot of limp-wristed Christians, which I think is my own phrase, and I like it a lot. And it fits a lot of people, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. If you're really strong of faith, you're not interested in the opinion of somebody else. You're interested in the opinion of God. You're interested in the righteousness of Christianity and what it brings to the table. And when we talk about this thing in New York City and this child, he's not just where he is because he's a communist or a socialist or a Marxist. He's where he is because he's promoting and profiting from the global intifada, which is the cancer in this nation as well. Do you feel that way?
Oh, I do. And particularly with the church, where you get the liberal side of the church that erase the masculine genre of God, our Father who art in heaven, to our Mother who art in heaven, where you get any erasing of masculine references to God as feminine ones, and then you get the removal of Christian symbols, even the Eucharist at the table in place of a pride flag or some weird liberal liturgy. It is dangerously moving away from the moorings of people with Christian faith and convictions and values. A lot of people express them differently, and I understand that. There's not one type that fits all, but the main themes and the symbol of the cross is being changed to more liberal expressions of inclusion than anything else. I think once you start hitting the main institutions that form a society in the United States, like schools, churches, even libraries, government organizations, entertainment, once you start messing around with them, I mean, look, Disney, Warner Brothers, Amazon, Netflix, the list goes on. The billions of dollars they have lost by changing storytelling to messaging a woke agenda. They say if you go woke, you go broke. And certainly it's happening. It's happening in these institutions. And I think that's what we need to raise the alarm with our children, to say this is what we are and this is what we are not and this is why.
And there's always a blessing in the curse, right? There's the blessing of, at least now over these last 5 years, America has suffered with the corruption and the treason of a Biden administration, which started off, and I'm going to tell you right now, Doctor, I feel that they stole the election. I've never wavered on it. I've been doing this for a while. There's no question in my mind they stole the election. But I'm from Chicago. We've been stealing elections since the inception, and they're proud of it here. So when you look at what they were able to do in the fascism, in the true face of fascism, the National Socialist Worker Party, the American Nazi, how they took away your rights, how they told you what you had to do, I think there has been a real coming together of decent people. Never before have more people homeschooled their own kids. Never before have people who thought, I'll move one day, and they got up and moved, or they're dreaming about moving now. I think that was almost a gift in the greatest time in American history this country's ever been as close to dictation and fascism as it went through during Biden. Do you feel that's the silver lining now?
I do. I feel there is a change. There's a change coming. There's a break in the wind, so they say. Those 4 years with Biden, some of the most lunatic things just on various levels. You've got, the branches of the armed forces and high-ranking officers, men wearing skirts. What
so
does
crazy.
that do for the defense of the United States? Makes us a laughingstock. What do you do when you get a drag queen reading to impressionable children about sexuality through children's stories? The world looks and it laughs. What do you get where you get people in the administration stealing luggage at an airport?
I love that story.
And it goes on and on and on. And it's the stuff of Saturday Night Live. When I first moved to the United States, July 1999, I loved Saturday Night Live. We used to get it in the UK, but I didn't really watch it. When I arrived here, I'd watch it every week. It was glorious. But something began to shift, and the Saturday Night Live sketches that were funny are now actually the reality of some people in this country. So the governor in New York, for instance, she erases the name mother and replaces it with gestating parent. Look, you go back in the 16th century, the Protestant Reformation, the invention of the printing press by Gutenberg, with words took on a new meaning. Words became serious. Now they are printed and accessible to everyone. And statistics will show you it takes about 100 years for words to become established as an unconscious norm in a society. This governor wants to change the word mother in a week.
Well, the bastardization of language.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It's the newspeak of George Orwell. It's the cutting away of normality. What are you going to do on Mother's Day? Say Happy Gestating Day?
Well, I mean, it's so preposterous and it's lunacy, but you must be aware of it because you're exactly right. I remember years ago watching Milton Friedman in the 70s. There was a television show that used to be on once a week. And he used to go crazy when they would call socialism liberal. And he would warn us years and years ago, and think about what he said, and it's really quite brilliant. If you allow fascism and socialism, Marxism and communism, to use the word liberalism as a virtue shield, it will get further than you ever thought it could in this country. It will advance under a false virtue shield of liberalism. And when you really think about what we're saying, you, myself, and even to some aspects, our church, we're the real liberal. I don't want to tell anybody to do anything or force them to. I want to have a conversation and reason with them. But when you look at what we face, that is something we've done. The bastardization of language is a way to rewrite your own history to steal the future. And the opposition to the American principles and righteousness and truth is very good at that deception, is it not?
That's a very, very smart view you have. I totally sign up for that. I think you've seen that principle last month in June when the Supreme Court went to debate over can biological men that transition to be women compete against women in women's sports. And it was a 6-3 vote no. The judicial system works. They've thrown it back to the states to say, let the people decide. Now, you might not like that. You might like it. But what it's left us with is a bad taste in our mouth because 3 female justices dissented and they ruled against it, or they ruled for it. Women saying that it's okay to take away women's rights, women's competitions and medals and trophies and awards. There's something cynical and twisted in that. And when you look at Justice Brown in her congressional hearing, when she refused to define what is a woman, all she could have said is, you're looking at one. And that would have been enough.
Oh, you're talking, yes.
That would have been the answer. And when a justice on the Supreme Court uses words and manipulates them, I mean, her whole thing in when she's saying if you're in Japan and you got to apply to Japanese laws, that makes you compliant. And it's like, this is a high court justice. It's really, is it that level of intelligence,
But it's funny.
That's concerning.
It's also funny, right? If you don't want to go crazy and start chewing on your steering wheel and punching strangers, you have to almost laugh at it. And you're talking about Ketanji Brown Jackson, which is why on my show, Dr. Fox, we call her Affirmative Action Jackson. She didn't get the job because she's smart. Joe Biden said, I'm going to hire a black female as the Supreme Court justice. And when you look at the rest of them, Sotomayor, come on, tell me that's not funny. Remember when she got the job? She was 75 pounds lighter. They must have a wonderful buffet there. And the idea that all of these women would ironically vote against the privacy and the dignity of women, that's funnier than Saturday Night Live has been since you got to the country, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Listen, Riley Gaines is one of my good friends. In fact, she's writing the foreword to the book that's just to come out. She will tell you stories of Leah Thomas, that the so-called transgender that beat her and everything. He walked around in the girls' changing rooms completely naked, looking completely like a man, getting changed, to mentally break down and to destroy his opponents. It's not just a man pretending to be a woman. It's a psychological game. These men that pretend to be women, they cannot even win in their own gender. They're not even 50th or 60th when they come in, so they have to steal it from someone else. So for a female justice who has the God-given right to bring new life into the world that we men don't have the ability for, would dissent in that decision, it's left a sour taste in your mouth. It is funny. It is funny, but it's also cynicism.
Yeah. It is, but we have to laugh, and I cannot wait to go through the book. So I made a mistake. I said it came out today, but it doesn't come out for another month and a half, right? The book, The Truth in the Age of Applause.
Yes, it's a book that stems from my own story. It's 17 steps in 3 parts of how this ideology creeps into organizations like school districts, churches, government organizations, corporations, and the butcher and baker and candlestick maker store on the high street.
Yes.
How these words are changed, and then words are empowered with policy, and then enforcement, and then punishment. And how can we live our American lives against that flow? What can we do about it? How can we, take up what Bonhoeffer said and not be stupid in the sense of abdicating moral and individual thought for the sake of this ideology? And so it lands on a very practical tone of how do we combat this? Look, I was the lead chaplain for the Austin Fire Department for 8 years, 1,400 uniformed personnel and civilian. And I wrote a blog called Willie Woke and the Chocolate Factory. It had nothing to do with my role as a priest in the fire department. 8 years of service. But the city, the LGBTQ contingent in Austin took it to the city of Austin. Fire department's a tax-funded organization, and they had me fired unless I wrote an open letter apologizing for my Christian views. And that triggered me. I did not move to the United States to have a First Amendment taken away from me. And so for 4 years, I fought the city, the Alliance Defending Freedom, a wonderful organization, paid all my legal fees, and we won. The city settled with us, and they had to pay up. And from that, this whole experience of, I don't want any naturally born or naturalized American to ever face this kind of garbage. And yet, as a priest, it's unexpected that you'd be outspoken. But, to be honest, if you read the Gospels, Jesus was a pretty tough guy, very outspoken, and he wouldn't take it lying down. In fact, he said, no one takes it from me. He said, I'll lay down my own life, and if I lay it down, I'll have power to take it up again. And to me, that is a powerful statement for your average American that gets up, goes to work, pays their taxes, loves their family, whether they go to church on a Sunday or not, I don't know. But the average American needs to take up that shield once more and be who we really are.
Dr. Andrew Fox, I cannot thank you enough. I really would love to have you back. It's been a true joy to meet you. I've got a Riley Gaines story I know you're going to love. She's a great kid. I had the pleasure of meeting her right in the beginning of it. And I said to her, why don't you just doesn't somebody want to kick his ass for you? And she said, my father's an NFL player, and he could have easily done it, but I begged him not to go to jail. And I've loved her ever since, so please tell her I said hello. But more importantly, we can get all the information for the book at the truthintheageofapplause.com to buy the book. And really, I would love to have you back if you're open to it.
Oh, I'd love to be back, Shaun. I really would. If people want to pick up what I'm doing, they can just find me on X, Dr. Andrew Fox. or go to that website, as you said, thetruthinageofapplause.com.
It's been a true pleasure. Thank you for joining me. We'll be back. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that, he's become an enemy of the state. He's Shaun Thompson, and this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Joint pain is awful when you're the person fighting through it, but I'm betting you aren't the only one affected. Maybe you love someone who struggles with joint pain. It's summer, time to be outside, moving and playing. But you or your loved one is sitting it out again. Hey, it's Dan Proft here. Get your life back. Talk with my friends at QC Kinetics. That's what's happening every day at QC Kinetics. Patients are finding real relief in their hips, knees, shoulders, and backs thanks to regenerative treatment done in the office by Dr. Caravelli and the QC Kinetics medical team. No surgery, no long recovery, just real relief. Inflammation eases, the pain lets go. I've seen the results. QC Kinetics patients are happy and wish they would have done it sooner. If you're living with chronic joint pain and want an alternative to surgery, contact my friends at QC Kinetics, longtime sponsors of AM 560. Consultations are free. Weekend appointments are available. Schedule an appointment today by calling 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Once more, that phone number, 312-827-6261.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Good evening, Shaun. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, a humid night ahead with a stray thunderstorm and a low of 67. The Gulf Coast seeing a plume of Saharan dust move in, bringing hazy skies and helping drive temperatures even higher. 2 men were shot and critically wounded in a shooting in the West Pullman neighborhood early this morning. Chicago police say it happened around 12:18 in the 11,000 block of South Ada. Crime on the CTA has dropped over the last 6 consecutive months amid a security surge to address a historically high number of violent attacks. Chicago's been ranked the worst city in the country for bed bugs for the 6th consecutive year, according to the annual Orkin ranking. Chicago sports, Cubs and Orioles at it again. The Northsiders have won 3 straight, while the White Sox dropped back-to-back games, and they're trying to salvage one this afternoon against the Red Sox. The news, a service of Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problems. No charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today. FoxValleyCoins.com. Your next news update is at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. Up next, a check of the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchek.
The outbound Edens is wide open on the Kennedy. Downtown out to the airport, 45 minutes. Eisenhower, 1 hour. Post Office 2390, that's heavy. Damon to Des Plaines. Stevenson out 48 to the Tri-State, an hour to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Outbound Dan Ryan, 38 minutes. Tighten the Express 33rd to Marquette. Outbound 4 to crash at 115th. That one is taking out the right lane. Very heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, both directions. Tri-State delayed either way. Westbound Jane Addams before Roselle, crash on the shoulder. And we have delay southbound 355 with the stall at Finley blocking the center lane. Heavy conditions eastbound 8094 from the Ford to Indianapolis Boulevard. This report is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, expect less humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 81. Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 67. Saturday is looking mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Time now for a check of the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
Regular no lead in Will County is $3.09 a gallon at the Murphy's Express in Lockport, $3.57 a gallon at the Amico in Monee, and $3.57 a gallon at the Exxon on Collins in Joliet.
If you see a low gas price, text the word gas to 312-642-5600, followed by the price and location. And listen each weekday afternoon at 12:30 and 5:30 to hear the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, this is Shaun Thompson. You know, most of us spend our entire lives in the paycheck mode. You work, you get 30% taken from the G, you pay your bills, repeat and rinse. And that's how time goes by. Then all of a sudden you're old. Retirement hits. Suddenly, you're the one who has to figure out your paycheck that isn't there anymore. Markets are bumpy, prices are up, things can get stressful real fast. That's why having a real income plan matters. Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group can help you build a strategy to turn your hard-earned savings into a reliable retirement income. They coordinate with your Social Security and your tax planning, so you can stop wondering if you're withdrawing the right amount at the right time. Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group have been doing this for 30 years. They can help you by giving you a complimentary retirement roadmap. And all you have to do is call 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711. Or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Have military collectibles? Turn that history into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Jesus just left Chicago, and is back for news.
The economy, Illinois, property tax, most recent was 23, but it's the highest in the U.S. Gas tax, second highest. Corporate tax, third highest. Sales tax is down to 13. Do businesses want to stay in Illinois, and do you think that the Illinois economy is doing well?
Let me say this. When I took office from a Republican governor...
Shut your fat ass up. Never before in the history of Illinois have more people and more businesses ever left. That's your legacy, fat boy. $40 John, parts unknown.
You know what, Shaun? You know how I feel about the theocracy. You better be. I think what's going on here is they're holding out. I think they're digging up that uranium.
Oh, you're talking about the Islamo-Nazis? Did you ever, I got a question for you, John. You're a smart guy. You notice how all the Islamo-Nazis, they move here and then they want to have their Sharia law in their communities? Why? Did you know that Iran is 4 times the size of Iraq? I mean, they got how many countries in the Middle East? How come none of them moved there? You ever wondered about that?
I don't know. I still think that they're digging that stuff up just to placate them.
Wait, can you tell me where to throw the match? Oof! That's all I want to hear from them. That's it! Mutts, everybody! If you're dressing like a camel salesman from the year 622, say goodbye.
Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people.
You know, right now he could be talking about the American Democrats or the Islamo-Nazis. That's what I love about him. It's exactly correct.
And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far
Same
as
thing
I'm
with the
concerned,
American
it's over.
commies.
I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And
they said that there was a real tragedy. It appears that 14 people in the new attacks, 14 Iranians have been killed. How many in Chicago? Did you know that every day, Squirrel, every day in America, primarily Democrat dunghole ghettos, 330 Americans are shot by illiterate morons taught in public schools. I added that last part. However, true nonetheless. And that's the prosperity and peace, tranquility, quality of life Democrat politicians deliver.
I know we Democrats are having a conversation right now about how much we should talk about Donald Trump. Trust me, I'm just as tired as you all are of having this man in our lives.
So why don't you secede? I'll do it today. You want to do it, fat boy? You can't do it. You can never let us go. Your Democrat areas exist on robbing the decent people in this country. There is not one Democrat municipality, city, county, or state that runs financially solvent. Not one. And all this poppycock of donor state versus taker state, they're all takers. Democrats do math by eliminating their liabilities like a crooked company. That's why they only elect the crooked fraud politicians.
An Illinois state representative and her husband are accused in a kickback scheme tied to campaign money. Carol,
do you think that they stole more or less than little Dick Durbin and his portly lobbyist wife? More or less than Rod Chipmunk-Face Blagojevich and Sweet Polly Purebred, who was the broker on the Tony Resco-financed Obama mansion in Hyde Park. How many scum Democrats know that? Guts on ghoul, which is what they're worth.
Everything was going the wrong direction, exactly what you're talking about, right? So when I took office, we had to address all of these things. So we're moving in the right direction. And in
57 new taxes, that's before July 1st, $77 billion in new tax revenue, all down the hole of Democrat skullduggery and corruption. Where's the money? Trust fund, baby. And you want to know the best part about when we talk about taxes in Illinois and what Democrats are good for? He inherited $2.7 billion because his mother knew who to give a lap dance to. And he cheated. He lied. He frauded the Cook County tax assessor by saying his wife ripped out the toilets. Of course, she was the only one with any upper body strength. That fat pig couldn't do a push-up. Forget about a pull-up. He'll rip his arms out of the socket.
seemingly every minute of every day. But I don't think that we can offer a solution for the future unless...
Yes, we can. We need to get away from you people. The good people, get away from the liability and the danger. You know, Squirrel, a lot of danger when you talk about these scoundrel Democrats. I mean, it's not just the domestic scumbags that you see on CWBChicago.com, which is fascinating. How many ankle monitoring wearing illiterate Chicago public school not honor roll students are killing and murdering and raping people. It's the illegal aliens that are bringing such a different variety. We still can't figure out just how many of them have driver's license. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show. on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
When Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, America stood on the edge of collapse. Over the next 4 years, the Civil War claimed more than 700,000 lives and tested whether our republic could endure. As the war drew to a close, Lincoln looked beyond victory. He looked toward healing. In his second inaugural address, he challenged the nation. Let us strive on to bind up the nation's wounds, to achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace. Lincoln understood that preserving the greatest experiment in self-government required more than winning a war. It required the character to restore what had been broken. More than 160 years later, America still faces division. The question is not whether we'll disagree. The question is whether we still have the wisdom and the character to heal together.
Whether you are old or young, no one likes to lose money. The market is at an all-time high. How much risk does your portfolio really have in it? Are you worried that you could lose your hard-earned money? Call TJ Stearns in Arlington Heights at 800-640-2256 for your free risk report. Call right now and we will include a full analysis of your portfolio. Don't wait until it's too late. Call TJ Stearns, a local and longtime sponsor on AM 560. Call 800-640-2256. Call now and tell him AM 560 sent you.
AM 560, The Answer.
Did you know that this guy, another moron, rat Democrat, lying about his own resume? I mean, my word. And this one is an Islamo-Nazi. You know what I like, too, about claiming to be a doctor? Anybody can be a doctor.
I see a yellow duck looking at me. Yellow duck, what do you see? I see a... Shut the f***
That's right, kid. That's a fake doctor, too. Jill Biden. Now, is she entitled to some latitude? Well, sure. She's been putting up with that scumbag Joe Biden, who likes to have kids rub his hairy legs for quite a while.
You got attacked by your rivals for calling yourself a physician, not just a doctor, even though you don't have a valid state medical license in New York or Michigan, which apparently is what you need legally to call yourself a physician. Do you...
Well, what exactly is your resume? I mean, when you come from the University of Gaza, what exactly are your credentials there, El Said? Boy, say that name in the right neighborhood and see how many people raise their hands.
Wish you'd just stuck to calling yourself a doctor, which you are, to avoid all of this controversy and attacks on your physician status.
You know, at the end of the day, it's not about whether or not I'm a physician or a doctor. The question is, can you see a doctor? It's not about...
No, it is about that. And that's why you never go to a doctor that has ever been a Democrat or comes from a country you can't verify their credentials. The good news is Trump is rubbing off on not just people with an IQ over 60 in this country, but all around the world.
With ICE arrests surging in the United States, border crossings at record lows, and deportations in the hundreds of thousands since President Trump took office, all working to make good on his campaign promise.
We will not be conquered.
Some countries around the world may be following suit, moving to ramp up deportations of their own.
We've seen a worldwide shift toward more aggressive deportation policies.
In the United Kingdom, deportations jumped 21% last year, according to the UK Home Office, to the highest level in 8 years. Part of a growing right-wing movement against...
No. Right-wing your ass, fatso. It's not right wing. It's called law enforcement. Did you ever think you'd see this? When you enforce the law, that's somehow a political party? Well, I guess it is. I mean, after all, this is the home of scum, where you accept the scum, wherever the Democrats are. These are all Democrat stories.
We're going to talk to several Somali experts on the growth of Somali gang crime. As I mentioned earlier in our promo, it's just a small number of kids, but they are causing a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's called shootings and rape and murder. Did you know in just Minnesota there's 11 Somalian gangs? You'd think they'd all come together. After all, they're stealing billions from our money, from our entitlement money. And here's the good news. The Trump administration is enforcing laws, and thousands of scallywags and scumbags are being arrested. You just don't hear about it.
Canada has designated the beast.
My office is unsealing 3 indictments charging 37 defendants with racketeering, extortion, and drug trafficking stemming from a multi-year investigation into India-based organized crime groups. As part of today's takedown, law enforcement has arrested approximately 24
Not the Elizabeth Warren Indian, the fake one. These are the Indians from India.
Defendants across the United States, Canada, and Europe, and we've executed 42 search warrants within the Central District of California and the Eastern District of California. These criminal organizations have engaged in widespread violence, including targeted killings, extortions, and kidnappings. The organizations have flooded communities around the country with massive quantities of cocaine and methamphetamine. This is just a small sample of their product here.
Now, how you got used to 100,000 Americans being overdosed and killed by cartels. Anybody want to check those numbers today? They're also on record lows. That's the Trump effect. We'll be back.
Hey Chicagoland, Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. If you're helping a parent or loved one move into senior living, you're dealing with a lot right now. Finding the right location, coordinating the move, managing their care, and then there's the house, often filled with decades of belongings and memories. The last thing you need is months of repairs, showings, and uncertainty about when it will actually sell. Here's how our veteran-led team helps. We listen to your needs first. Flexible closing date? We can do that. Extra time to sort through everything at your own pace? That works too. You keep what matters, family photos, heirlooms, whatever has meaning, and we handle the rest. For nearly 20 years, we've earned hundreds of 5-star reviews by treating families with patience and respect during life's transitions. If you're ready for a no-obligation conversation, call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com. That's jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
This is the Sheriff's Office. We have a report of missing employees at Hassleus Mattress.
Yes, Hassleus Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
You're confessing?
That's how we keep our prices way low. And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
Sounds suspicious.
Free next-day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hassleus Mattress delivery truck to my house.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassleus.com.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $283. There are only 2 good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
If you've saved $100,000 or more for retirement, call Steve Shyman today at 833-945-7283. That's 833-WILL-SAVE, 833-WILL-SAVE. Schedule your no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and make sure your plan is built to protect what you've worked so hard to earn. And don't forget to listen to Steve's show, Protecting Your Assets, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560. Call now, 833-945-7283.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
There was a time the FBI wasn't always a cover-up agency for the government mafia. There was a time when the FBI worked tirelessly to make America safe, to expose traitors within our government, within our country. My next guest represents that time in the FBI. Former counterintelligence special agent of the FBI, author of A Traitor in the FBI. He worked during the Cold War. It's always a pleasure to talk to Wayne Barnes, and we'll do just that after Foxweiser.
Charges filed. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. 8 men facing serious charges for their roles in a foiled attack during the UFC fight at the White House last month.
The 8 men were indicted in Ohio in 2 separate conspiracies to provide material support to terrorists and to murder a federal government official. All the defendants are accused of helping plot a drone and sniper attack at the White House during last month's UFC event. Federal investigators say the plan began in May. Law enforcement officials learned of the threat on June 10th, just days before the UFC event. One suspect says the plot included flying explosive-laden drones into the event and then shooting at the crowd. 7 of the 8 suspects were arrested last month. The Justice Department says an 8th suspect, Chandler Skaggs of West Virginia, was charged this week.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Day 4 of the preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson and the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk last September is just wrapping up.
Lance Twiggs was given immunity for doing this recorded interview with the prosecution back in April. Twiggs says Robinson left early on the morning of September 10th, the day Charlie Kirk was killed, and claims not to have heard from him until 11 that night. Text messages were shown and read in court where prosecutors say Robinson admitted to Twiggs that he was the one who assassinated the conservative commentator and had left a confession note under his keyboard. Twiggs finally saw Robinson in person the next day.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in Provo. Tyler Robinson has not yet entered a plea. President Trump's plan to build an arch in Washington, D.C. has won initial approval from a key federal commission. The National Capital Planning Commission voted to approve a preliminary site and building plans for the 250-foot arch. Final approval could come in September when the commission next meets, but members say they want information on the arch's violation of the city's law, which restricts how tall buildings can be. America's listening to Fox News.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Edens outbound, you're okay. Inbound 38 minutes. The Kennedy to get to O'Hare, 45 minutes from the Jameburn interchange. Eisenhower, that is an hour and 10. Post office to 390. And there's an accident in the left lane right before St. Charles. On the Stevenson due Saba Lakeshore Drive out to 355, that's an hour. Outbound side of the Ryan, 25 minutes. Due Saba Lakeshore Drive, solid both north and south. You see no brakes on the tri-state either way. Westbound Jane Addams slowing into Roselle. Also an accident eastbound Reagan on the off-ramp to Highland, 355 heavy in both directions. Traffic is a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Steiner Homes, love where you live. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, expect less humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 81. Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 67. Saturday is looking mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea. We're meant to live free. We're free to work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But every day, I don't know about you, my body hurts, aches and pains. If they're slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from pain. I started taking Relief Factor years ago to get my life back, to thrive again, and I still take it every day because it works for me. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free. It's research-based formula that is designed to help your body fight inflammation, one of the root causes of pain. It's not a quick fix. It's not a temporary mask. It works from the inside out at the source. Relief Factor, created so people could get back to living life on their own terms, walking, working, exercising, enjoy the moments that matter. This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take a stand for your own freedom. To commemorate, they're offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76. Declare your independence from pain and take control. $17.76. 3-week quick start, ready for you right now. Visit relieffactor.com, 800-4RELIEF.
SES Americom Incorporated CX Team Systems Integration Testing Engineer, Chicago, Illinois. We'll support Intelstat software pre-release testing and continuous improvement activities. Duties include assess impact on CX KPIs of Intelsat HW changes, SW releases, network changes, portal updates, new device models and core apps, and browser updates. Collaborate with system engineering and the virtual architecture teams to define and conduct lab tests covering the onboard CX KPIs and report results. Following their Intelstat acquisition, SES Americom Incorporated is the successor in interest. 40 hours per week, salary $129,413 depending on experience. Any applicant who is interested in this position may email or mail resumes to the attention of Carly Osario, Specialist, Global Mobility, 7900 Tyson's One Place, McLean, Virginia 22102, or email carly.osario@ses.com.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Last year, Mitch, 50, railroad worker, income 100 G's a year, score 630, called to consolidate his debt with a cash-out refinance. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch pay off his debt and save $800 a month. Johnny called Mitch for a 6-month post-closing checkup and informed him his credit score was now over 700. Then Johnny helped Mitch lower his rate, remove the PMI, and save him another $400 a month while covering all his closing costs. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch eliminate his debt, save $1,200 a month, and improve his scores over 100 points. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit that website you know you love, 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white,
I literally thank God every day. Every day. Not just because I have a fantastic job. Not even because I get to talk to great people like my next guest. But because I can remember a time in this country when it wasn't about division, it was about protection of America. It's true, Squirrel. You wouldn't believe it. There was a time when it didn't really matter if someone was a Democrat or a Republican. They wanted what's best for the country. And along with that time, Squirrel, There was a time that even the government bureaucracy, before treason became normalized, even the government bureaucracy wanted what's best for the country. It was ironically during the Cold War. My next guest represents that time. More importantly, he represents a time when the FBI wasn't a cover Gestapo for corruption, when it actually wanted what was best for the country and rooted out saboteurs even in the FBI. My next guest is specifically that special agent, former counterintelligence special agent, author of A Traitor in the FBI. He worked during the KGB espionage era where he really found a home. He ran double agents, recruited hostile intelligence officers. He understood how important it was to protect this country, and he did it proud. He is Wayne Barnes. How are you, Wayne?
I'm really well, Shaun. Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
Well, I had such a good time during our last conversation because you represent a time when it was just something that you took for granted because everybody wanted our country to succeed, and I mean that. Now, to me, when someone tells me what party they are, it's a confession of a traitor in my book. But then again, I'm from Chicago. And you know as well as I do that Chicago has always been the capital of communists and mafia where it married perfectly. And that's what this city really represents, isn't it?
Well, I came from a time in the Bureau when a supervisor would come out of his office, point at three agents and say, you, and you go to the airport, arrest this guy. No one would think, let me see, that's two Democrats and one Republican. Nothing like that ever occurred. There was no politics when I was in the Bureau. But if you see someone at headquarters in recent years change a affidavit for a FISA warrant so that it says the opposite of what is true, I mean, they should be not just booted from the Bureau, they should be put in jail. So that's a bad thing to have happen.
And, you know, I've always been skeptical of what corruption looks like when it's in law enforcement, not just because I was a huge fan of the movie Serpico or the reality of what that represented. But I didn't, you know, people always had the line where it wasn't a given that FBI agents could actually be so intellectually corrupted, philosophically corrupted, they could represent the downfall of the country. It was one thing to look over a couple of bookmakers in New Jersey, but at this level of what you've seen, when you yourself were essential in recognizing a traitor in the FBI, why don't you fill the people in who didn't catch our first interview on specifically what case that was?
Well, we spoke on April 6th, and my book, A Traitor in the FBI, The Hunt for a Russian Mole, it came out on the next day, April 7th. And usually a first-time author has a difficult time getting through publication. I had sent my manuscript to the FBI pre-publication review in 2016. It took 7 years for them finally to approve it. So that wasn't anything political, but they had never had anyone with the temerity submit a manuscript which had been completely classified as though it was a sensitive case in the FBI. Anyway, it came out April 7th. It sold out by 3 o'clock on Amazon, which is rare if your name isn't from politics or Hollywood. And it went on to be the #1 new release bestseller for the next month. So I've traveled, I've done book tours in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, other places, and it's just gone really well. There's more to say on that. Let me get back to your issue. I can't knock the people I've met, even recently in retirement in the FBI. I would say that when the Mar-a-Lago search took place, I don't believe there was one person from the Miami division who was there, not SWAT teams, not investigators, and they were kind of isolated from it. That would make it your area that you were describing, which may have had political overtones to it, came out of Washington, D.C., came out of the Department of Justice, did not come out of the on-the-street FBI agents. They're out there still working hard. They're catching fugitives, healthcare fraud in a big way, and doing all the cases that they should be doing, drugs and organized crime, that sort of thing. So there are few, but the ones who were in the Bureau, Strzok and Page, where they think they can change the election, that's brutal and should never, ever have happened. But not only is that 1%, it's much less than 1%. But again, the bad apple gives the whole barrel a bad name. Oh, yeah. And that's what the problem is now.
And I'll be very frank with you. I do that in Chicago, and I've done that for years, not just because in my neighborhood, FBI stood for Forever Bothering Italians, but because, a quarter mile away from the FBI headquarters was the greatest mafia that was destroying the quality of life of Chicagoans and Illinoisans, and that was the political mafia, short in the pants mafia, by the Madigans, the Burks, and the Dailies, and the rest of it. And, you keep waiting for a good guy, for even the Lone Ranger, for anybody to come out of the woodwork and say, enough is enough. This is enough political corruption. But, I'm also fascinated in what you've also been aware of before you got to the FBI. There was scandal, and there always is. The problem with any job is that it's occupied by a human being. And jobs don't have virtue per se. Human beings do. Now, there was a time when the bulk of the human beings that would even apply for the FBI, for the most part, were of great standing character. And I'm wondering how you think it rubs off. And I've interviewed some guys like yourself, some retired good FBI guys. I mean, one of my favorite interviews is John O'Connor, who was the lawyer during the Watergate era, and friends of all of the people in that era. And he's an absolutely wonderful gem of a guy. But when you look at the evidence of what the FBI did with Obama and how they carved a pathway for Joe Biden's crackhead, degenerate son to be used as a front on phony companies with Chinese communists, with the former Soviet Union. You, as somebody who understands what the Soviet Union was, we kept, during this whole Ukraine thing, I kept for somebody to say, well, you do realize 4 of the Soviet leaders were Ukrainian. And they were the most corrupt country after the collapse of the Iron Curtain. Maybe we should be a little suspicious of the fact the vice president's son is on one of their 2 only energy companies there. So were you amazed at how that was all able to be shelved and that information hidden and the laptop protected from reality?
Yeah, I will say that was a pretty terrible circumstance. But speaking out is... You have to be in the right place. You have to have the right microphone. My part, I had a small part in it, but to me it was significant. A retired assistant director who since passed away, Kevin Brock, he knew hundreds and hundreds of agents. And John Solomon, who started the news service Just the News, is a conservative level reporting.
Yes.
And he called me and he said, Kevin Brock, former assistant director, gave me your name as a signature expert, a handwriting expert. So he had access to the receipt for the laptop that Hunter Biden signed when he turned his laptop at the Delaware repair shop. And he said, all I want to know is that his signature? Well, that was right up my alley. I've been doing signatures and handwriting since 1977. The Bureau doesn't have any specific cases regarding handwriting, but I had gained a skill. So I took it and I analyzed it, and both for personality analysis and for whether something was a forgery, it was unequivocally his signature on the receipt. I wrote a 20-page report, 10 pages about signatures in general and why they're significant. That is, when you write your signature on a page, you're writing yourself on the page. You may not know that, but you do. Yeah. And then also why this one was his signature, based on another 30 or so signatures, which I located. Then a week or so later, the, quote, 51 intelligence professionals came out indicating that was all Russian disinformation. That was a very specific moment in time because they all knew they were all lying. They weren't just leaning on somebody else who said, yeah, just get along with us and do this. I believe that under President Trump, they all lost whatever clearances they had, which was appropriate, but they lied to the public. They knew it, and they knew it was a good laptop. All the things that were in there. I was in the Washington office. I was the undercover coordinator. I'd worked a record number of hours of FaceTime against Romanians, Czechs, Poles, Russians, KGB, GRU. I was kind of Mr. Undercover at one point. I even wrote the handbook for the FBI. I had to work counterintelligence undercover. So when you set up backstopping for something, it's complicated. Where you live, what your story is supposed to be, your legend, as we would call it.
Yes.
And the items that were in that laptop that were so extensive and so detailed, I say this with pride and humility, I could not have set up a backstopping like that if it were going to be fake. It was beyond me. And that's one reason I said, hey, I couldn't even have done this. It's too far in the way of truth and accurate information. But once you find that out, it's obvious. Now, I'll give you the example that I gave to people who had asked me at the time. I said there was, for instance, an email that went from someone at the State Department to someone at the Commerce Department. And there's all sorts of, not code much, but different letters and numbers and transmission information that are on these things, which have to be the way they are to get a document from one location to another. And I said, well, here's the way it starts. Go to the guy at the State Department and say, did you send this email? And then go to the guy at the Department of Commerce and say, did you receive this email? And when they both say yes, you say, okay. And then you go to the next one and the next one. And pretty much you find out everything there was true. Everything was real. So it's hard to, even then in that era, trying to make a photo where it's got Hunter Biden with whatever women he was with and whatever positions.
It's a confession.
Someone try to do that.
Yes.
You know, as a scam, it was just all too real. But the idea of the backstopping for what would look like a false computer with all the information in, and many gigabytes of information, you could not set it up. It turns out once you see that nothing is untruthful, you can't find something which would not be the truth. That meant the whole thing was, as my friends would say, for schlucking it. Throw the whole thing away. And it was true, but I don't know why. So then Brennan and the other former intelligence chiefs under Biden, I don't know why they did what they did. It was strictly political, not based upon logic, not based upon investigation. If anything else, I would tell you that 14,000 FBI agents, we are investigators. Turn over every rock in the stream, try to find mud. If there's no mud, keep going up the stream, splash up the stream, covering your leads until it's all clear. And then it's either one way or the other. And that's what the Bureau does. They do it so well. But so that kind of, I don't know who was authorized even to investigate it, but I did my part of it, and I was happy to participate.
So, Wayne, in Chicago, this is called when you have clout, right? In Chicago, clout, political clout specifically, but not exclusively. You could be all kinds of clout. But when you have that kind of clout, you can be arrogant in your corruption. Because what that, in essence, mean, it's a wink and a nod to say, the guy on the inside, we got him. Whether he's an investigator in the police department, whether he's an investigator in the revenue department of Illinois, whatever the case is, we've got enough clout to get away with it. And that's what I never thought would become universal or obvious as it has since Barack Obama. But really, if I think about it, it's really Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton that changed the moray of our society, where criminality and the ability to get away with it became normal. I mean, when you go back and you look at Joe Biden and you look at his legacy of corruption, you could trace him back to the 70s. Joe Biden was always a moron, always steeped in scandal. The sister and the brother always set up his bagman. Then with his own kids, unbelievable. But who broke the real cake? It's really Bill Clinton that normalized this lack of dignity among Americans or constituents to accept politicians who were stealing from them. When you look at Whitewater, it's amazing how few Americans even know how ridiculous that scam was and that scandal and the way that they got away with it. I'm curious. I trace it back to what broke the morals of America as Bill Clinton. What do you trace it back to?
You mean Bill, I didn't inhale Clinton, that guy?
How ridiculous. The whole thing. But remember Arkansas and remember the scandal of Arkansas. But when he was running for governor, the Whitewater scandal, his wife working for Rose Law Firm, the document destruction, the fact that they were selling landlocked property to seniors. They were robbing everybody, including their friends. And it just is a footnote to a footnote now.
Yeah, it's a really terrible situation. Whenever someone in the media uses the term, this is a scandal worse than Watergate, or as bad as Watergate, this should go down in history, what they did. The whole idea of the Russia Gate, the Russia disinformation, I can only imagine Putin just sitting there, laughing
of course he is.
in the Kremlin at how insane this was that Americans were buying on this. It was just so bad and wrong, and they all knew it was a lie. All of it was a lie.
Yes.
And when President Trump says, that never happened, I wasn't there, that didn't happen. There were enough people in the media on the liberal side that didn't believe him, or they didn't, quote, know who to believe. But you have to investigate. Just like the laptop, you have to investigate it. And then the idea of having a false report made by the guy in London, which was never verified, never backstopped, never clarified. You investigate. How could they not investigate that?
Well,
and sometimes senior people at headquarters may get involved in an investigation, like it happened with Strzok and Page, and I think Kleinschmidt was the other one, and others, the names that came out in public anyway. FBI is not an investigative area. They are managers. They are administrators. And one of the problems had been, and I can only say this with what I believe and what I understood, but when you become an agent, I don't think we've discussed this, but you go through Quantico at the FBI Academy. I mean, I was an agent, to give you my lineage. Before there was an FBI Academy, I became an agent. I went through training at the old post office in Washington. When I went through training, the Hoover building was a 100-foot hole in the ground under construction. And also J. Edgar Hoover was still alive for a year while I was still an agent. So that puts me in an era, far going back. But from the very beginning, you had to have honesty and truth and decency, and that was it. So when you went to Quantico after that, they had a path that ran through the woods, and there would be roots from trees sticking out, and rocks were so big to pull out. And instead of people spraining their ankles and tripping on these things, they just painted them all gold, a bright color. So everybody knew that when you ran through the woods, and that was a special thing in the Bureau that was exercise and training. And they ended up calling this the Yellow Brick Road. And everybody who's in the Bureau knows the Yellow Brick Road. And there were two fellows that knew a headquarters, and they were in a three-way discussion. And the other fellow, he said something that just didn't make any sense, but Bureau-wise. And the two agents who I'd known, they looked at each other and didn't get it. And then finally someone said, oh, he never ran the Yellow Brick Road. He did not know the culture of the Bureau from the beginning when you start out. Not as a grunt, but in the Marine Corps you'd call it as a grunt when you start as a new agent. And then you work your way up. But I think it was Louis Freeh who first brought some managers over from the Department of Justice, managerial level people. So he wanted people in the Bureau who may have been good managers in theory, but they did not know the culture of the Bureau. And that was really a problem because everybody at Main Justice at that level were political appointees. And that I think is what was the inception of where it began, that there was political leanings inside the Bureau at headquarters.
Well, and the other thing,
that was that.
The other thing you need some guys who are smart enough to spot the scam, right? Like the Clinton Foundation. Who would spot the Clinton Foundation as what it really is, a vestibule and a payoff of corruption, other than a guy who understands how to work a scam on the street, right? That's a street scam. So you set up the phony entity. It doesn't really exist. It doesn't do anything, but it hides behind the veneer of legitimacy. And you look at the ebbs and flows of money in and out of it, depending on where the Clintons are in the power structure of government. And, you know, this is what I was thinking of the whole time with the Russia Gate, with Trump. The accusation, I call her the Duchess of Chaffington instead of Hillary. She is a Chicago mafia Democrat and nothing more, but she's smart in her deception because the accusation is always the practice. So when she was accusing Trump of being an asset for corrupt former Soviet Union, it was her that did that. When she accused Trump of selling favoritism and government power or what he would do, it was her that already did that as Secretary of State. And when you look at the Uranium One deal, when you look at the Clinton Foundation itself, what it's been doing since it's set up, and who set it up, who was the consultant for the Clinton Foundation, was Jeffrey Epstein. And he used it as a vestibule of payoff. And they robbed billions of dollars since Haiti had the earthquake, and really since Bill was molesting Monica. And it's worked. Now, the FBI has to have somebody in there that runs a street scam to spot it for what it is. Do you think they're investigating it?
Well, you know that I'm only able to talk about what I was involved with or what I know from at least close-hand information. And I was in the Washington field office from 1974 to 1990, and then moved to San Diego, which was one of the reasons I was able to work this particular, intelligence case, the gray suit case, where Hansen was the bad guy. Mm-hmm. But when I was in Washington, you have authorities in FBI agent. You have a gun. You can take people's freedom. You can, draw the gun, and you have ability to go through doors that other people just don't have. And that was what agent life was like. When Merrick Garland was the Attorney General, and the option was there to have certain of these things investigated, it should have been an option. They should go investigate, find out what's going on. I mean, I had a chapter in a book which was called Always Knock on the Door. And you get to a door and they say, I can't go in there. And it's not, excuse me, I'm in the FBI. I'm going through this door. You want to help me or not?
Yes. Yeah. How did that work out?
That's a concept.
Yeah.
It worked out well every time. And it isn't that you have to be ballsy, but you have the authority to do it. But you want truth and justice. Without the white horse and the black Lone Ranger mask, you are the guy who has to figure it and solve it. And there's an army of these people who are so good, so honest, so sincere. And there's so many of them. But the idea of having the permission or authority to be able to investigate this particular matter. And that's it. So when they get some senior people either assigning cases or declining cases to be investigated, they throw them crazy. I mean, if you're working healthcare fraud, someone says, hey, we have a special meeting. There's a squad being set up as an organized setting to investigate this particular circumstance, like happened in Minnesota recently with the healthcare fraud, that sort of a thing. But they would have investigations which covered certain areas. And you got to let the Bureau go. Let the agents who want to do this do it. And you can't can't have Justice Department jump in and say either don't investigate that or we'll take care of this. Headquarters does not investigate. They're administrators. I had talked to agents I knew for years. They've been at headquarters for like 7 or 8 years. Well, your reading paper comes from the field. That's your job. You don't investigate at headquarters. You're an administrator. You're a manager. So I met one of these fellows on the street, and I hadn't seen him for a while, and he was such a decent guy. And I didn't know, how are things going? Knowing I was still out there catching bad guys in the streets and, fighting crime and intelligence spies and all that kind of stuff. And he said, I am so far from the work of the agent on the street, I don't know if I could ever get back to it.
So when you look at
that is what happens. So when you settle into headquarters, so that some of these cases I mentioned, some of these aspects regarding what Hillary was doing, the other aspects with Clinton, et cetera, they had people at headquarters looking into these things, and they're no longer investigators. You have to have it signed to the squad on the street, in the Washington field office, or Baltimore, or Alexandria, or somewhere, and those agents investigate. If they change the path, if they change the hierarchy and say, no, we're investigating headquarters. No, you're not. You read paper. You read my paper, I write it. So that is what bollocks an awful lot of things. And I'm sorry to say, I don't know what the recovery situation. Hopefully it gets better with what Kash Patel is doing. But when people talk about individuals getting fired because they were for or against Trump, no one should be for or against anybody in the Bureau.
I don't think they should vote. I don't think they should vote. I think they should abstain.
You shouldn't tell anybody who you vote for. And they don't. Yeah. And they did. There was just no politics.
I love
That's all a recent thing.
Well, one thing I've noticed too, Wayne, I've noticed, and I'm sure you have, from coast to coast, the arrests are going up in the scandals of robbing our entitlement system, whether it's Medicare or Medicaid or entitlements, in the breaking up of this Indian crime syndicate that did everything from deal drugs to murder people and all this. So I think Kash it looks to me like he's doing good. But before I let you go, I'm up against the clock. If you were to grade him an A, B, C, D, or F, how would you grade him?
Kash Patel?
Yes.
You're talking about my future. I would say a B+.
All right.
I think he's doing really well. He's doing really well, but the problem is there's so many things that are still hidden. You've got to uncover them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean when you find someone who's like dirty, find someone who's got, dirt on their hands. Some people at headquarters, I mean, they were stuck.
Hey, Wayne.
The person above them, person below them had a certain leaning, and, what are you going to do?
Wayne, you're talking to a Chicago audience. You know what a B+ is called in my neighborhood? The honor roll. Wayne Barnes, thanks for making time for joining me. I truly appreciate it. The book, A Traitor in the FBI. Thank you for making time for me, Wayne. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be on. Thank you much, Shaun.
Thank you. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit TremfyaRadio.com.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You've got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
Shaun Fest, are you signed up? We need to know how to tell the people how much food they have ready, because food will be available, and it is an incredible place. It's called Lakeside Pavilion. It's happening August 28th, but it's right behind the Westin in Itasca, where we have Freedom Summit. You are going to love it. We're going to be outside. There's going to be bands, national anthem. The whole show is live, including the guests. Squirrel and Honey Bunny will be there, but the most important part is you. And all you have to do to be there is go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. Now, Shaun, S-H-A-U-N. Simple. ShaunFest. All one word. And if you haven't been to one, people ask me all the time, why is it so important? I wanted it to be free. So on the very first one, we said it's going to be absolutely free, and it is. Now, we do have VIP tickets available, but a VIP ticket, it's basically an arbitrage of value. For $25, you get a seat right up front with us, and you get a T-shirt and a drink ticket. So you're doing better than breaking even. And the good news is you can stay from the time I get there. I'm going to get there about an hour before the show. And I'm going to leave when I'm done meeting each and every one of you and having a conversation. And we're going to get to, I just think it's one of my favorite things. It's a family party. And wait till you see the Squirrel and Honey Bunny and all the people that make this possible, including some of our sponsors. Some of our sponsors to make this all possible. Virago, fantastic. Dr. Huber. Leaving I-L.com. State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto. Great guy, great. Unique Wooden Flags, also a fantastic company. And Class A Insurance, owned by Tommy and TJ. Iaquinta. And what I love about it is my favorite uncle was named TJ. Tom's son is named TJ. They're great people. We're all great people because we're the third that makes this whole country go around. In fact, we're the third that does everything since the dawn of mankind. And this time we come together. August 28th, Lakeside Pavilion at the Westin in Itasca. Be there. All you have to do is go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. It's free, but you have to register to get in. When we get back, 312-642-5600. We'll take your calls and comments after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, a humid night ahead, maybe a stray thunderstorm, and a low of 67. New tensions in the Middle East are making jet fuel costs climb again. Fox Business's Grady Trimble is at O'Hare.
Jet fuel prices are significantly down from their April peak, but they jumped 20 cents per gallon, or about 10%. That's about 84% more than May of last year.
2 men were shot and critically wounded in a shooting in the West Pullman neighborhood early this morning. Chicago police say it took place around 12:18 a.m. in the 11,000 block of South Ada. Hundreds of thousands of Illinois customers could face higher water and wastewater bills if Illinois American Water receives approval for a proposed $142 million rate increase.
I mean, we're in a time right now where every penny counts. Every dollar matters.
The mayor of Bolingbrook is Mary Basta. The news is a service of Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people, they're probably saving a carload of cash right now, so what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Your next news update is at 7. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check of the roads with Jill Urchak.
On the Tri-State southbound, a stall blocking 2 left lanes right past North Avenue Solid from the O'Hare Oasis. You are seeing delays on that either way. Still busy on 355 and the Reagan. Jane Addams also showing tie-ups. DuSable Lakeshore Drive remains jammed both north and south. 394 southbound at Sauk Trail heads up for a crash. On the Edens going out to Lake Cook Road, that is about a 17-minute ride. Kennedy downtown to the airport 35, and the outbound Eisenhower 50 minutes. Post Office 2 390. Stevenson outbound a crash at Central blocking the right lane 55 to 355, and the outbound Dan Ryan 30 minutes. Southbound 57 at Bulmer crash in the right lane. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, expect less humidity with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 81. Friday night will be clear to partly cloudy with a low of 67. Saturday is looking mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
For months, you've been hearing ads about Virago Immune Support. I have to tell you, this stuff is for real. I had an occasion to not be feeling well on a remote broadcast. I took it, and it is the real deal. And the stronger your immune system, the stronger your body defends against diseases, viruses, and everything else. That's why Dr. Huber created Virago, a liquid immune booster supplement. You take it daily. It's a blend of 23 nutraceuticals working in synergy to maximize effects and boost your immune system. It's the nutraceutical cocktail for an immune system, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. Virago even protects your heart, your kidneys, your liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Do yourself and your spouse a favor. Order a bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Old phonographs or music boxes? We are the experts. Consign yours. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Today, the Senate sits for a test on behalf of the entire nation.
That's when he sounded good, Squirrel.
Mitch McConnell. Show me a sign, give me a clue. Drop me a hint and tell me something new. It's a global mystery. You've got to watch and see. Where in the world is Mitch McConnell? It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not putting $50 on Mitch is still alive. Are you? I don't know. It's a lot of scandal out there. And when you look at the scandal that's been allowed to happen over the decades, in 18 years, $30 trillion added onto the debt. Could this have even possibly happened without not just complacency, but cooperation? In fact, I say the legacy establishment Republicans like Mitch McConnell are the unindicted co-conspirators to the $30 trillion, the vast majority of which was stolen.
Back in Minnesota now, in court today, 2 more defendants are pleading guilty in fraud cases.
Kelsey Christensen joining us live, tracking new details from the courtroom. Kelsey.
Yeah, Fahima Muhammad just entered a guilty plea.
Can Fahima Muhammad please stand up? Imagine saying that in the Somalian community in Minnesota. Get about 752 of them.
Agreement to wire fraud and conspiracy to
Is there a Carol? Is there a Carol in the bunch?
Fraud the United States. She is accused of defrauding 2 federal programs, receiving about $5.5 million in reimbursements through her daycare, future leaders, and fraudulent meal claims under.
What was your reputation or your resume to have said daycare in Somalia, the sphincter of the world?
For the Somali community. And in the last 2 years, there's been 14 Somali homicides, 100 plus Somali shootings, all gang related. But before you start fixing the problem, first you have to
80% of the entire Somalian community, 8 out of 10 on welfare, stealing $9 billion out of Minnesota. That must be the other 20%, Squirrel. And they have street gangs. And for some reason, it's not just one street gang. Why can't it be one? How many are there, Squirrel?
identify what it is.
We have about 12 different Somali gangs in Minnesota. We have a handful too in Ohio that our Minnesota kids are linked up with. Our gangs are not only staying in Minnesota. We now know they're going to Ohio as well, where I work with Columbus Police.
Oh, you know why, Squirrel? That's where their cousins, the other Somalians, named Mohammed, all at the same wedding. That's where they are running another scam. Ohio and Maine. Let's not forget Maine.
So like I said, about 12 gangs right now. Our biggest gang is our Minneapolis group. They are currently fighting with all the suburb kids. That primarily started in the end of 2022, rose again in 2023 at a high school event, and since then we've had shootings and homicides nonstop ever since.
Boy, you don't hear that in the local news, do you, Squirrel? Those Biden years, those will go down as American dark ages.
And Joan, Shingang, Shanga, Kawawa.
And he will always hold the record as the only president this country ever had that said a sentence without a word. Stupid son of a... Charlie, Lowell, Indiana.
Hey, how you doing? I heard you mention something about the Fourth Reich. I was thinking about that myself, with this Klaus Schwab and this George Soros.
Oh, Charlie, I've been calling it that for years. The fun thing about Klaus Schwab, do you know that his father, I can't even, nobody could make this up, Charlie. His father, Klaus Schwab's father, was the manufacturer of the flamethrower for the Third Reich. Did you know that?
Really?
Yes. Yes, indeed. Schwab Sr.,
Soros,
may he burn in hell.
He had all the identities.
Well, George
Wasn't
Soros
he in charge of all the identities of the people who went to the camps and got murdered?
He was a young Nazi. You're talking about the
He
young
sold
Nazi.
all them things off to all the Nazis getting out of town.
And that's
all the
why
identity.
we are correct in calling it the Fourth Reich.
Maybe as a child,
Thank you very much,
you
Charlie.
don't see the connection, but it created no problem at all.
No feeling of guilt.
No.
For example, that I'm Jewish, and here I am watching these people go. I could just as easily be there. I should be there. None of that.
Well, of course, I could be on the other side, or I could be the one from whom the thing is being taken away. But there was no sense that I shouldn't be there, because that was... well, actually, in a funny way, it's just like in markets that...
Being a Nazi is nothing like in markets. Do you ever hear a pivot like that? Well, you were a Nazi, even though you were Jewish, and you helped take the assets away from fellow Jews, and you identified them as Jews for the Nazis. How do you feel about that? Well, it's a funny thing. Is it a funny thing? You Nazi! I'll tell you what. And who loved him? Who still loves him?
Not enough for America's future that some participate and others don't. We have been given an extraordinary blessing, and at this moment in time, our country needs us. And we need people like George Soros, who is fearless and willing to step up when it counts. So please join me in welcoming George Soros.
Bill! Hey, Bill! Get your head out of that intern's crotch. What do you have to say about that?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. These allegations are false.
I believe you. I think Hillary Clinton is the only woman you didn't have sex with in Washington. Rapist scumbag. 312-642-5600.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, this is Shaun Thompson. Most of us spend our entire lives in the paycheck mode. You work, you get 30% taken from the G, you pay your bills, repeat and rinse. And that's how time goes by. Then all of a sudden you're old. Retirement hits. Suddenly, you're the one who has to figure out your paycheck that isn't there anymore. Markets are bumpy, prices are up, things can get stressful real fast. That's why having a real income plan matters. Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group can help you build a strategy to turn your hard-earned savings into a reliable retirement income. They coordinate with your Social Security and your tax planning so you can stop wondering if you're withdrawing the right amount at the right time. Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group have been doing this for 30 years. They can help you by giving you a complimentary retirement roadmap. And all you have to do is call 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711 or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
When you've thrown over 4,000 innings like I have, you know joint pain isn't a maybe, it's a guarantee. For you, was it climbing ladders or too much heavy lifting? Hey, we're all in the same boat. But surgery, that was never my answer.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens knows there's a better way. That's QC Kinetics regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No scalpels, no fake fixes, just real relief.
What I love about QC Kinetics, these are the most respected medical pros in the country that specialize in non-surgical therapies to get you moving again.
Don't mask the pain, fix it. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
I trusted QC Kinetics. You should too.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
AM 560, The Answer.
I love this call. All right, Squirrel, I'll let you play the succulent Chinese meal, but let's get to some of these calls. Mark, Rochelle.
Yeah, I want people to understand there's a large-scale look at this problem and a small scale. The large scale is Pritzker says he balances an entire state budget, but it's based on stealing money that he's given from the Fed, basically.
Yes.
But also it boils down to building departments, city councils, county boards approving these businesses like they just see a little bit of a money flow coming in because of numbers.
They'll let you
So the money
steal if
is-
you cut them in. Yes.
Right. And people have to understand how important even those minor positions are at the city, the county, and state positions. At all levels, it's not, people are put in these positions for reasons.
Mark, it's the reverse argument for the broken windows theory. Do you remember when the scumbags didn't want to arrest the criminals the first time? Let them break the windows. It's jobs.
Yeah.
You create jobs. You have to replace the windows.
Yeah.
You remember? This is who you're dealing with. Let them steal the money. It's campaign contributions, and it's money that would never come to the state as decent people move out. I like the way you think, kid.
Yeah. Now, look, we got a broken window now. Now you got to pay for that. It's never ending.
Yeah, and they wonder why insurance premiums go up. Thank you, Mark, for listening and participating. Mel, Hanover Park.
Yeah, Shaun, thanks for having your guest
thank you.
give some good ratings to Cash Patel because that's what I was looking for. B+ to me is honor roll, baby.
Absolutely.
The other thing I want to tell you is that Vivek is having a hard time in Ohio with that lady Acton, I think it is. And remember, he's a Hindu that helps promote Judeo-Christian values. And the Indian crime syndicate thing, I'm ashamed of my people. Being a U.S. citizen of this country, I can't believe they're doing those things.
Oh, Mel.
Those people need to integrate.
The beauty of mankind is that we're not going to be we're not cast to each other because of race or skin color. It's character, and I don't care what race or skin color you are. You got my character. These people don't represent you any more than Sicilian
like
drug
that.
dealers
Yeah.
represent me. So don't worry about that, kid.
Mm-hmm.
This is the right show for you. So thank you very much. Now we're going to let Squirrel. He's never heard succulent Chinese meal. He should. This is the perfect show for it.
I'm under what? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Best arrest ever.
Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before. Some cups. Why did you do this to me? Pop in the car. Get some cups. For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir.
That almost mirrors every time I get arrested, Squirrel. There must be a Melrose Park in Australia.
I see that you know your judo well. Good one.
We'll be back in 21.
I'd like to tell you about a man named Phineas who as a child survived the Holocaust.